Right.
So yeah, at this point, if people show up, they show up. But we'll go ahead and get started. So, hey, how's it going, guys?
Okay, so before we get started,
Yeah, absolutely.
the past 48 hours,
Uh-huh.
maybe 72. I don't know how long David's been working on it. I just been nosy, like when he's working on stuff, because I'm over here working on stuff for the wedding,
Just 2 days.
like making a flower wall, and then I glance and he's like this on the computer, and
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing? He's taken episode 1 and has like added like underscoring and like animated AI with stuff.
Dude.
I'll
And,
send you
like-
guys the link. I just finished rendering it last night.
I was like, what are you working on? And he's like, it's a thing. And I was like, okay. I watched some of it this morning. I was like, this is actually kind of dope. Like,
Yeah.
It's illustrated in Scourge, so
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
it surprised me. I was not.
I will...
You should check it out. It's kind of dope.
We will absolutely check it out, and then we will figure out how to either promote it or how to get it to, or like we'll figure something out on how to make
yeah.
make
So
sure
what they call
people know
it,
about
like the when they re-release something, but they add extra stuff.
A remaster?
Yeah, it's a remaster.
It's a
remastered
remastery of episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's so cool.
Shake two spear.
So
Yes.
hey everyone, welcome to the last episode of Sages and Satyrs. This will be the end of this adventure. I'm excited, a little sad, because this has been really fun. This is also going along with all of the Shakespeare Rende stuff, so that's really cool. We are definitely live. I double checked on that. I have the screen I have Streamlabs in the background, so I'm like, yes, okay, cool, we're good. Yeah, I just wanted to thank you guys for being here. This has been really, really cool, and it has been like some of the most fun I've had at work, like ever.
Yay, we should do it again.
I'm down to do it again.
Yeah, man.
This has been a blast.
Absolutely. I will try to sell this as much as I can. So yeah. I guess it's the best way is to get started, and we will get started with a shift in perspective.
Is the door unlocked?
No, it is not. I will go ahead and open it.
Hey, people, come on down. You can't get in. That's the first challenge. You gotta get in.
You got to roll to pick locks
Right?
to enter the room.
We'll have a.
Okay.
Hey.
Hey.
Hi.
So yeah, this is our recording for the final episode of the actual play that we've been working on for the past while. It's all on the Dallas Public Library YouTube. It's live. We're streaming. So yeah, it's. If you're welcome to sit down and watch us now. Otherwise, feel free to also watch again later on the VOD, whichever one. We were. No, it's this room. We try. Yeah. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. We'll begin with a shift in perspective, and a bit of a follow-up on some. And a bit of a refresher. So, our crew has originally met on a dramatic night wherein a party being thrown by the Capulets, and in particular one Rosalind Capulet, was crashed by some sort of creatures, some ink embodied monsters. Their edges, the burnt, crispy ash of what looked to be parchments or some sort of ledgers, constantly fluctuating in a sort of like inky black proximity to the human form, although exaggerated in specific ways with lanky arms and long slung jaws. But the intruders were beaten back by Yorick, a member of the Shadow Players. At one point, the appointed court jester to the King of Denmark. In addition, though, secretly a spy working for a organization working to pull the strings amongst those in power in order to try and guide the ways of the world in the means of helping out those not in power. In addition, they were aided by Moth, servant to Lady Titania, Queen of the Fairies, who had been charged with finding the folio that belongs to the Fey realm. Upon this meeting, the folios were explained. They are stories, the physical manifestation of the stories created by being in this world. The world stage, whenever a story is told, a folio is created, and it disappears and reappears at its own whim, but should you be lucky enough to grab one, you gain the ability to change that story how you see fit. With the Fey Realm and Oberon seems to be in the clutches of someone else, and with the world's energies sent out of Ballas, Moth, along with several others, however we have not met them, but several others were tasked with going and finding the folio belonging to Oberon. With this, Rosalind's mother, during the fight ensued in the party, had been secretly poisoned by some sort of clandestine means. It was later found out that someone had gone to the apothecary and purchased a poison, which had put her in a deep, dreamlike sleep. She now recovers in Verona proper. But however, our group decided to go through the backstage, the in-between worlds between the fairy realm proper and the world stage that exists. There they had several small misadventures that eventually culminated in contact again with one of these inky beasts until they eventually made their way to Illyria. They had been following the clue that the person that had poisoned Rosalind's mother was Malvolio, current king regent of Illyria. The previous Duke, Orsino, had been deposed by Malvolio, and now what was a colorful, bright, artistic, forward city-state has been turned into a drab, fascist, despairing city. Our group has since snuck into Malvolio's manor, and in an attempt to defeat him, weaseled their way into Malvolio's hearts through Rosalind's very, very good flattery and just general ability to make people think that she is supposed to be there. And so with that, they were able to properly confront Malvolio, defeat him, and get their hands on the folio that he had been using to manipulate the events of Illyria. Upon doing so, however, they found themselves in a loop. Every single time they would try to leave Malvolio's lair, they would reappear again back inside the door, just along with some of their allies on the other side, unable. It was then that they opened the doors and realized that they are not alone. With the doors opened, they then opened the book, and from there we have face-to-face with a shadow from Yorick's past. Hamlet sits in a chair by a desk, a book open in front of him, a quill in hand. He stares out amongst the three of you, all of you standing behind Moth, now holding the book open that you had recently taken from Malvolio. You are in a austere room, stone on the floor. behind you, while looking around, you see a tapestry, and upon it you see a relief of the Illyrian coastline, its castle upon the cliffs, and the city and markets that flow in from the castle town into the countryside until eventually its port opens up. As you look, you see several other. You see that the room is ovular in design, and on your side is Illyria, and on Hamlet's side you see many, many other tapestries. You see a slightly burnt tapestry of some noble military-looking man standing atop a cliff, staring out into onto a beautiful city with marble columns and all sorts of other things. And behind him, you see the painting of 37 daggers trained at his back. Next to that one, next to that tapestry, you also see another slightly burned one. This one is it's got pieces missing, but from it you see that it is a relief of Aphrodite and Adonis. Aphrodite clawing essentially at Adonis while he is rebuffing her. You see one of a king with dark skin and a crown upon his head. His heart, his hands over his heart, bleeding, while behind him you see a woman crying, and in the corner a thin, evil-looking man grinning from ear to ear. And this is one of many. You see that behind him he has several of these tapestries that each are reliefs. And those of you that would pass a history check that I'm going to ask now.
12.
16.
16?
Nice.
24.
Hell
Yeah.
Hey.
Everyone here knows enough history to recognize that all of these are stories. Some of them are histories of kings that have great men of power who have died tragically, or known stories of love and loss, of stories about songs and music. And you recognize that as you're staring at this, Yorick sort of fiddles about, and he looks at you and says, "I've been very busy, Yorick. I see you have as well. I didn't realize you had been brought back. I would have sent you an invitation for meeting a long time ago."
So, just to clarify, in my mind, we are still in Malvolio's invisible tower.
You are in what looks to be something very similar. There are no doors where you are.
Okay.
Instead, you seem to just be in this austere white room, and that whenever Moth opened the book to try to get you guys out of this bizarre time loop you had found yourselves in, to potentially try to alter things, the second he opened it, you were, instead of in Malvolio's study, because you had left from his invisible room and walked down to the study, you are now in a similar austere, sort of monk-ish room, but instead it is covered in these tapestries.
And we're physically there in that room.
It feels like you're physically
Okay.
there. Whether you are or not is hard to say. But you, for now, from what you can feel, it doesn't feel like this is a dream or a hallucination. It feels you. If you needed to, you could pinch yourself and you'd be like.
I'd love to do maybe a perception check of the desk. Oh, and you said we are holding Malvolio's
Moth is holding the and had it open the
one we got
folio that you had gotten from defeating Malvolio.
The Malvolio folio.
Yes, the Malvolio folio.
Yes.
It was Moth all along.
Yeah,
was
and
the
so
BBEG.
and Moth has it now open and standing in his proximity. But yeah, go ahead and roll.
Yeah, I mean, just the desk and what I'm looking for specifically. It's only a 12. What I'm looking for specifically is a folio in his possession.
Yeah.
Specifically, is there ink like we saw that Malvolio had, and a writing utensil? Those are the main things I'm looking for.
That's pretty obvious because he's
Yeah.
not trying to obfuscate anything. On his desk, you see a similar illuminated text, very similar to the one that Moth is holding. On his left, you see an ink pot with that you notice whenever the light hits it. It has a almost slightly reddish tint. And what appears to be a peacock's feather, with a nib at the end, to his left-hand side.
Does the ink pot, what material does it seem to be made of?
The ink pot itself is glass, or just standard what an ink pot would be.
Okay.
But you see that he has one in front of him.
Other than that, I don't say anything.
Yeah. Other than that,
I'm just going to physically pull my hood off so that my full.
Oh,
Oh,
that
I hate when you do that.
Just whip it out like that.
the years
Yeah,
have
right?
not been kind to you, old friend. And I see you have two fellow agents, sidekicks, buddies.
I am nobody's sidekick.
Oh, I already like you.
Main character energy over here. Hello.
What is a sidekick? Is that like a superhero?
It's like, okay, you know, there's like a superhero, and then there's like his like little lapdog that like chases behind him. Right? Yeah.
He looks so inflated right now.
Yeah. Moth isn't a sidekick either.
Okay.
Moth is superhero.
Moth is apparently a superhero.
Yeah.
This is the best you could do.
I just look at him. I'm not saying a word.
He's so rude and hurtful.
And who are you? You want to fill me in here? You seem to know my friend here.
am Prince Hamlet of Denmark.
You're supposed to be dead.
I got better.
I thought that.
I wasn't expecting that response, but that's a really clever response. Wait,
Wait, you mortals can do that too? Is this just like a normal thing?
no, it's not. Okay, so Hamlet is supposed to have been dead for a while, like a long time. Like we were hearing stories about the royals in Denmark at least like what 15, 20 years ago, easily, maybe more than that. Yeah, he's supposed to be like dead, so I don't know who brought him back.
Wait, you've been a prince for that long? That's embarrassing.
His whole family slaughtered.
So how
Yeah.
are you not king yet?
I am. Well, I'm King Regent.
Who brought you back?
Horatio.
I told you. I called it. You was the Horatio, is the ace all along.
Well, we both share the same letter, but it's supposed to be me. But
Do you really?
Hamlet. Horatio.
Yeah.
Really? This was the best you could muster. I'm disappointed. My death was admittedly a frustration in my eventual revenge, but death has a way of making one come to terms with the reality of the world around you.
Okay, for somebody who sat there whining and crying for as long as you did about, my mom married my uncle, as much whining as you did, you're real salty now, and I don't appreciate it.
I did, didn't
That's
I?
kind of
Yeah, he's really mean. And how are you going to be this mean, like, now? Ugh. That's who you worked for? I would have drowned him when he was a baby.
Damn.
I really wasn't always like this.
I'm just saying. What, that's not allowed here? We're not allowed to say that? We're not allowed to be honest?
I'm really trying to go for sort of a menacing thing here, and you are very not letting me do that. And
I'm a
honestly,
Capulet. What do you want?
I'm honestly a little impressed. Maybe okay. Cards on the table. I want your folio.
Well, want in one hand and spit in the other and see which one fills up faster, my friend.
He just looks at his hands.
Don't really do it though, Moth. That's like it's really gross. You have like a handful of spit.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, don't do it.
Weird. Okay.
Tell me, what do you know about the nature of the world? Really, what the world is, what it's like, what makes it, how it functions.
Here's what I know so far. I know that you meddling in things that you have no business meddling about, you have brought upon us being constant twilight. We don't have sun up, sun down anymore because apparently you've decided that you're going to be God and rewrite stories and rewrite our reality. Why? Because you're a whiny boy.
No. You said that I want to be a god. That is incorrect.
Oh, I didn't say you wanted to be one. I say you're playing one.
I'm not. I'm not playing God. I'm playing the devil.
Oh, Lord, even worse.
All the world is a stage, and all men are merely players.
He said the thing.
He did.
Do you know what what these folios actually are? And he holds up the book in front of him. They are the physical manifestation of stories told. When a person tells a story, it becomes a folio. But the thing is that when stories are passed on from person to person, those stories change naturally over time. In one story, your dress is red, and another, it's green. They simply forgot. But upon each change, another folio is created. We are, all of us, the product of our stories. The folios that we have here are representative of us, all of us. You are a written name. If I were to open the story of, you said you are Capulet, you are from Verona. If I were to pull the folio that was meant for the city of Verona, or for Romeo and Juliet, you would be mentioned there. And by erasing you from that, I erase you. Or by changing how you function in that story, I change your function in the world. But upon doing so, there is another story that is told. The story of me making the story. A meta-narrative, if you will.
I think I'm just stuck on why do you feel like you are the one to do that?
Because it's the only action one can take that matters. Upon each story that is told, another story in which you are the opposite is created as well. In this version of the story, I am the bad guy. I am doing everything in my power to stop you. In another story, you and I are allies. In another, neither of my parents met and I was never born. Thousands of storytellers telling thousands of stories, creating infinite stages. None of what we choose matters. It is all predetermined and easily editable by anyone with an ink pot and some parchment.
Sounds kind of megalomaniacal.
So I am doing the only action that matters. I'm getting all of the folios to create the first folio. See, that is what I realized, is that all of the stories, the reason why they constantly move, the folios go from place to place to place, slipping from the hands of one king and falling into some pauper's lap the next day, is because the stories are changing. They're trying to find each other, to become one single folio, a masterwork that tells the story of the whole world. And I am very close to completing that goal. Each of these behind me is one that I have put in this folio. I have written down the story of Caesar. I have written down the story of Aphrodite and Adonis. I have gotten Richard III, Richard IV. All of the great kings of London have been written here in this folio, along with a myriad of other stories, sonnets, poems, and songs that you have probably never even heard of. I have been very busy, Yorick. And so, I realize that my task that I am going out for is monumental in its vastness. Probably even Brobdingnagian in scale. I am but one man on a quest for an apotheosis for the true and only final death that one can have. And so I lent one of them out to a petty little malcontent that was sad that the pretty girl next door would not talk to him because he was a fussy busybody. My mistake.
Yeah.
Never, it's so hard to find good help. His job was to seek out one of the other folios I was missing. And instead, he pissed you off. He went after your mother.
He sure did.
How do you think your family became the new heads of the Capulets? What of Juliet's parents? They were the true heads. Why suddenly do you think that the story of two star-crossed lovers, desperate to find true recognition but unable to find some, is a less important story than a petulant child that just wants to make daddy proud and sell lipstick? You are not the main character of that story deal. The story of Verona is the story of Romeo and Juliet. Your mother, or someone in your family, found the folio, has sequestered it somewhere, and has changed it just enough so that way they get to be on top. They had all of that power, and instead of using it to try to make the world a better place, instead of using it to fulfill some sort of archaic need for self-destruction, they decided they wanted to be rich.
Well, I mean, you say that with like so much like anger, but have you ever been poor?
No.
Have you?
I've not. I was born a
No,
prince.
because my mom changed it up. And based on what I'm seeing, who would want to be?
Yes, it's very bad. And instead of using these as a tools to truly even things out and make the world a better place, they have fallen in the hands of tyrants and fools time and time again. And so I have taken it upon myself to right these wrongs. But upon realizing that, upon thinking about it, I realized that in doing so, I doomed the world for it to just go again. My apotheosis would mean that some other wannabe upstart god would find the first folio after I inevitably be past, get bored, or complacent, and they would just change things to how they see. So the only option is to get all of them and then destroy them.
I'm sure what you think you're doing is very noble, but there's something to be said about chaos. And while I may not be the main character in the Romeo and Juliet love story, I think my fate is a lot better than listening to a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old wall about how much they are in love with each other when we realize it's just a weird teenage love story. And also, Romeo had no business being with a 13-year-old. That's gross. But we don't talk about that in that story, right? Right? We just let it go because that's the more romantic story to tell. I think it's infinitely better to be a makeup mogul and be on top than have to listen to that drivel over and over and over again. And also, do you know what we forget about that story? Romeo was knocking on my door first, right? I realized he was gross and said something about it, and that means I should be written out of a story? Come on now. This is all petty in comparison to other things. But I'm just saying, if I can make an argument for my story and what happened with it, then there are plenty of others who would do the same for theirs. So let them happen the way they're happening. You don't get to harness everything.
So I guess I have a question for you then, Mr. Hamlet, not king person thing. You say you want to burn the books. Do you know what happens if you burn the books?
It's over. All of it. All gone. No stories anymore. No change. The stage is empty. It's curtain call. We all take one last final bow, and then some other thing starts up the next night.
Why would anybody want that?
Do you need a hug?
Right?
No, I do not need a hug.
It sounds like you need a hug.
What I need is justice.
York,
Oh, Mom.
York finally breaks his silence, and he begins speaking. And he's gonna try something here. He kind of takes one step forward and says, and his voice begins to change. It's not Yorick's voice. And I begin absorbing the shadow of Malvolio that I've carried with me from his death. And I slowly begin changing from Yorick into Malvolio, right in front of Hamlet. And I'm going to tell him, well, this is not the plan you originally approached me with. And it is very interesting to find out that my precautions about hiding the secret of what I have done to find out who you really are has made itself known. He just takes on this pretentious air as he turns into Malvolio right in front of him. So I'm using my mantle of whispers to deceive him that I am actually Malvolio.
Okay.
He can make a insight check against my deception check.
Okay. So make your deception.
Okay.
Net 20.
That is 25.
25.
There it is.
Well, all right.
Ooh, that's going to be hard for him to get.
And let me just say, because I want to brag, I rolled a 9 on the dice.
What's your deception?
My deception is plus 11. I roll with advantage, and because of Mantle of Whispers, I add 5 to that deception roll. So it was plus 16.
God.
You know, I got the that spell, the flies. I want to intimidate somebody in this.
And
That's
and
all flies.
my main point for doing this is because while disguised, I can gain enough information to pass myself off as the person.
Yeah, I remember that part.
yeah.
You gained some of their knowledge.
And I just want a little bit of knowledge.
So you're trying to check them that you were pretending to be Yorick.
Yeah, I'm actually Malvolio who pretending to be Yorick.
Oh my gosh, this is layered.
All right.
It's a play within a play.
Like ogres.
Well, Hamlet didn't. Hamlet does have stuff he could do, but he wouldn't have done it before this particular meeting. So he is going to roll very poorly, and sort of looks and is sort of nonplussed.
Yeah.
And
And say, I read your letter. You called it a game. And that's when I knew I shouldn't trust you. And I was correct to not trust you. You think I couldn't ride around you? I don't have all the folios. You have your presence too. But I simply ride around the fact that I have bested these heroes who tried to come because I needed to find out what you knew about me. And now I know your plan. And you'll never receive this folio.
I like to think I'm actually deceived too.
That was
Malvolio, I think it's very, very funny that you think that just because you found me out, that suddenly it means my plans are foiled. Malvolio, I've come here in a warship. I'm not taking the folio peacefully. I'm taking it by force. I never should have given it to you in the first place.
I'm very interested on how much information I have about how folios physically work as Malvolio.
As Malvolio, you know how to alter your current folio, and you know, and experimented enough specifically with Hamlet that you would know as Malvolio in this instance what would happen if the two of you start trying to sort of write things off at the same time about where you guys are currently located.
I'm gonna say writing out a diss track means a whole lot of different thing with the folios.
Yeah.
For real.
And what would happen if I lost the ink that I had?
You would need to get more.
So it has to be that specific blood ink or magic, whatever it is.
It's basically Malvolio knows the process of turning blood into ink.
okay.
It's an alchemical process that Malvolio knows that then you as Yorick would, I would say, be keen into. You would have to probably make some sort of check in order to see if you can remember all of the steps correctly. But you would know, Malvolio currently knows, I know how to make more ink.
Don't spill the ink.
No, I just wanted to know ink had to be made. And
Yes.
when that thought crosses Yorick's mind through Malvolio's whispers, that's all he was going for.
Uh-huh.
And he starts laughing and turns back into Yorick with this skull, just the cackling skull, looking at this. Just and all of a sudden it goes silent, but I keep cackling. And the cackle then begins to originate from the bowl on the desk as I cast Shatter on the bowl of ink on his desk, 3rd level.
Woo! Okay.
Moth
He's going to
doesn't
go
like
ahead
any
and
of this
cast
stuff.
counter.
Right? I'm just like,
He is going
What?
to, in response, cast counterspell.
Okay.
oh wow,
You've activated my trap card.
Yeah.
right? Oh
And
Lord.
he'll cast it 4th level, so there's no roll.
But you took up one of his 4th little slots.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
It's so you see the laughter happen, and as it gets louder, it reverberates, and the glass bottle begins to shatter, and a single crack shows up when Hamlet basically takes his fist, clenches it, and then slams it down on the table, and just this sudden blue flash appears as the laughter dissipates, and the ink bottle reforms, and it's like, ooh, not bad, old man, not bad.
It was way too easy. You take upon yourself the privilege to rewrite your own script. There is nothing we are supposed to do other than follow our script and know our path. And you are an abomination that
And
I will
how
stop.
many people have suffered because of that dogma? How many times have we allowed injustice and suffering and all of the myriad tragedies that have occurred in this world that we could have easily stopped? And you know we could have easily stopped them, Yorick.
It is not on you and me to make these decisions.
On who? Who elected them? What, because they're older? Because they've been around longer? Because they think they know the greater good?
No. There's no such thing as a greater good. And you have to have tragedy and you have to have injustice to appreciate all of the goodness. It's a balance. And you can't take all of the bad out to just assume there will be nothing but good. There has to be bad for there to be good.
I've had enough bad, and I've had enough good.
Oh, womp, womp, womp. My family died. Get over yourself.
No, never. I will never get over myself. I will never get over what happened to my father. I will never get over what happened to my mother. I will never get over what happened to me. All right? I am going to make this world into a silent stage.
I'm going to message Moth. I'm going to look at you, Moth, and be like, can we please find a way to kill this guy now?
I originally started this sort of mocking rewriting in order to push you back so that way we could have this conversation. Because I wanted to see if there was some way I could convince you that what I am doing is truly the noble task, that the only thing a person can do that matters. But apparently we will not see eye to eye on this.
You sound like a madman.
And in some other version of the story, you would find me quite charming. So, I am coming. I'm going to get that folio. You have... Do what you must. Stand and fight me, run and hide, just to know that I will get it. And that will be that. At which point, he closes his book, and you guys are standing back in Malvolio's study.
I'm so sorry you ever had to deal with him. That guy's a jerk.
There's some benefits to losing memories.
I do think the dead family thing was a little harsh.
I mean, maybe. I know. I'm going for
You
the jugular.
were very sad when your mom thought when the prank was pulled on your mom. So you maybe be a little nice.
Maybe, but also like death is something that happens, right? So like then you're sad for a little bit, and then you get a little bit better, and you carry that sadness with you. But then it informs the choices you make, right? So like again, you gotta have a balance, bad but good. Hamlet.
I agree. He was bad guy, but
Hamlet caused all of the murder and the tragedy in his own story simply because he could not just grieve.
Yes, and that Hamlet is dead, and then he was brought back.
This Hamlet sucks.
While they're talking, I'm gonna just we're still we're back in this thing. Before running away, I'm going to just loot this room. Is there anything that might be some sort of connection? Yorick's in go mode at
Okay,
this
yeah.
point. He's like,
so
I need
you
plus
are
3
in-
insights information.
You are in Malvolio's study. You go ahead and roll investigation. Yeah, let's go with investigation.
All right. 11.
Okay. On an 11,
Dice not
you begin to sort of go around. You remember that the bookshelf is what takes you up to that invisible room. So you start going around, pulling off other books, start searching around, trying to find anything that can give you some benefits and help you out in the incoming conflict.
Do we still have Malvolio's folio?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Moth is still holding it, and he's got it open.
Okay.
It's like we're like projected there.
Yeah,
It seems like.
it's when you would remember as your time as Malvolio that when one is basically deciding that they're going to write, they go to that writer's room, and that is where they can, when they begin writing, see the full story for all that it is and make those alterations. And that's whenever anyone writes in a folio, if another person is writing at the same time, they all meet in the same writer's room. And so Hamlet was basically egging you on to try to get you to open the folio because he was trying to talk to you guys or Malvolio to see what was happening. And so you begin searching around the room, and you overturn a desk, and you hear the sound of glass tinking in one of the drawers. The sound of something just like slapping it, like knocking into each other, and something that doesn't sound like papers or normal pens.
Okay, yeah, I'll dig deeper.
Yeah. It's locked. Is the only major hitch on that is that it is a locked drawer.
Just hack it open.
Yeah, I don't care if I break it. I'm just gonna smash it open.
Okay. Go ahead and I'll say just like roll an attack to hit, and then
I love when people miss the attack to hit like an inanimate object.
Yeah.
Big dash check. Whoop, not one.
I like for mine. It's the idea that it's you hit it, but you didn't hit it hard enough to cause any
Yeah, no, I
damage.
pull out a dagger and just dirty 20, stab it in the
Dirty
lock.
20, yeah. Go ahead and roll damage. This thing doesn't have a whole lot of HP, but if you rolled really bad, I guess it might have to be another hit.
Damage is 4.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
It's,
so
it's
that's
a
not enough,
tiny,
huh?
it's a tiny lock on a desk,
Yeah.
and you wedge it, you stab your dagger in, and sort of pop the lock
pop it
open.
off. Yeah.
And then when you open the drawer, you see a few things. One is you see 3 red files filled with a sort of red mercurial liquid, not blood, but something effervescent and magical looking. So you find 3 of those. You find another ink pot. This one is basically labeled, and it's in a glass container, and it's that same black ink, but whenever the light hits it, it has that red tinge to it. And in there, you also find a letter, or not a letter. It's just sort of a folded piece of paper. And when you open it, you see that it is a map of Illyria. If one of you would like to roll perception about this map.
15.
20. Dirty 20 again.
7. So.
Okay. The
That'd
15
be-
and 20, so after you pop it, you find the thing and you open it, everyone sort of looks at it. You don't really know enough about how city grids and stuff work that you're like, I don't really get it.
That's not my jam.
You absolutely would know based on what to look at because you've seen these kind of city plans before. And Moth would sort of just it's decent enough a pattern recognition that you'd be able to tell, like, oh, I know what this is. This is like a map or something. Like it's one of those weird human things where
So human things are still kind of weird, but like,
but
oh,
that's
it's-
weird.
it's-
But
I get
because
it.
it's so weird to you, you've taken enough notice of it. And it's one of the things that you admit that humans do is useful. Is they know how to impose an area and make it on a flat surface so one can see where one is going without having been there first, which is very hard to do in the Fey realm. And,
Yeah, it's a silly concept. You just walk in one direction, and you find something interesting.
and then
That's
you
all
find
you need.
something,
So
right? So on it, you see that it is a map of Illyria. On it, there is the castle and everything else, and you see that he has in a scratchy penmanship scrawl, basically labeled a point in the castle that basically leads to the port. There's somewhere in the castle there is some form of door that leads directly to what he has labeled as a emergency boat. It seems he had a getaway plan in case Hamlet ever decided to betray him.
how about like nuclear launch codes in there, something like that.
Yeah. So yeah,
Oh,
York.
by the way, while all that is happening, you guys are hearing the sounds of people rioting out in
wondering
the
what was happening.
streets.
Yeah.
From the essentially the riots that was started whenever Yorick and the fake Duke attempted to rile out everyone in order to try and storm the castle finally. So yeah, that's all happening in the background.
Are we in the tower or are we in the entrance where?
You're in the entrance in his study proper.
Okay. All right.
But it's still upstairs. It's still
Yeah,
the
right,
upstairs.
right.
So that upstairs part.
Yeah, the
if
bookshelf opens, visible bridge to
Yeah.
invisible tower. Right?
Yeah.
So we're right in there. So yeah, I am gonna pop the. I'm gonna see these are potions.
Yes.
The other three, I'm gonna pop and just do a little taste of the potion.
go ahead and
You are living dangerously.
roll.
how you
Arc-
identify
What's it gonna do?
potions.
Die?
Go ahead and roll Arcana. Roll Arcana.
Okay.
Good point.
Sorry, causes rash.
No, that's 10.
10?
Yeah.
It's a health potion of some kind.
Okay.
You don't know what kind in the sense
Okay.
of how powerful it is.
Yes.
You know that it's definitely something that one would take that would help you instantly heal wounds.
Yeah.
But you can't tell its potency from a simple dab.
All right.
It could be anything from a lesser potion of restoration, or it could be a amazing potion of restoration.
Okay.
Who knows?
Yeah. So these are beneficial here. I'm gonna hand one to each of you.
All right.
If you need a little boost in your health.
What does it smell like?
It smells.
Moth would have absolutely smelled it.
No, it smells like Hawaiian Punch.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's what I've always thought health potions in D&D. Like, whenever they draw them,
fruit
I'm
juicy.
always like, they seem like they would smell like Hawaiian Punch or like fruit punch Kool-Aid to me.
Yeah.
or it has like the tint of that, but it smells nasty. But it's like with like the it's like rotten fruit,
Nah,
where
I
it
think-
almost has like the hint of good, but it's like nasty.
I think health potions in a magical world like this, or like in D&D proper, people would take the time to make them not taste bad because they're used so often and they're so universally like just useful. Where like a farmer is like, ow, I've cut myself really bad, and like you're a peasant, so you've gone from
Yeah.
3 hit points to 2, and it's just like, here, have a potion of luster restoration. It'll fix you right up. It's a bit expensive, and it's like, that's fine. Why does it have to taste like cat butt? And it's like, you're right, we should fix that. How about mixed berry? And that would, yeah.
I always
Berry
imagined
cat butt.
Pepto-Bismol. Like that texture of Pepto-Bismol was
I
fantastic.
do.
That's
think
I always
I
imagined
think the
like
texture
that.
would be bad. I think you would if you tasted it, it'd be like, oh, fruit punch from just a taste. But when you drank it, it would be just viscous enough to make you go, I don't. It's a little syrupy.
Underdone Jello.
I don't
Yeah.
like this.
I just picture like children's Robitussin.
yeah.
When
Like,
it hits your tongue,
honestly,
you're like, it's candy. It's not candy.
not candy.
Mine tastes like Dimetap.
In his other hand, Yorick's
Gross
holding
Dimetap.
the vial of the blood, and I'm going to share a little bit what I gained about the portfolio from Malvolio's memories. He goes, correct me if I'm wrong. This is blood. It's or this is ink. It's created from blood. This is what has to be used to write in the portfolio. And from what I tell, the portfolio has to be written upon in a certain place, so it would be in Malvolio's chambers or in Hamlet's chambers.
it would be that if from what you know is
Mm-hmm.
that when the folio is opened, and someone is actively writing in it, they are very vulnerable.
Okay.
The thing is that if a person comes up to you, it looks like you are essentially writing and are completely comatose, and you feel no sensation from the outer world. So that means someone could just come and you get no sensory input either. So a person could walk up, slit your neck, and then you would just start bleeding out in the writer's room, and then you would die, and there's nothing you can do.
So
Okay,
we
so-
need to guard him.
Clarifying question with that one, because we saw Malvolio riding in front of us.
Yeah.
But you said that we get transported like so was Malvolio?
He's physically there,
but he was in his head. He was in that
and
chamber talking
in his
to him.
head, he was in the writer's room.
Okay, so and he would have relayed that to us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you would have.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I have idea.
Yeah.
This crazy idea, but stick with me. Here's what we do. I am small. You can carry me. Correct? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So we take. You said that map takes us to ocean.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, so what if we get on boat and go up to a ship? We can't get on ship normally because he is watching. What if I open book and I distract him in a room? You carry me. You need to watch out for me. I'm very vulnerable, as you said. But you carry me. You get onto a ship, but he's not watching because I am distracting. I know I am a very personal person, so I know I'm not distracting or annoying to people, but I'll do my best to to attempt to cause that distraction for him. But I think we can get on board that way. I will not be there. I will be physically there. I'm assuming if I understand correctly, but I can distract him and keep his eyes off people coming onto boat.
So if he's writing at the time, so I just want to. So on the ship, he goes like he's astral projection, plane walking almost, like kind of remote writing, like you see, just kind of writing. So physically on that ship, he would be vulnerable. But we saw him in his like writing room, right? The tapestries are showing him what's changing in the stories, and did he also want us to open that folio so then he could know what was in it? Is that what you had said?
He wanted you guys to open the folio so that way he could talk to you or Malvolio.
Okay.
Because if you're in the writer's room with him, then he could have this whole big dramatic speech.
Okay.
Because Hamlet's a prima donna. So
Gotcha, the writer, okay.
he was trying to get you guys to be like, open the dang book so we can have a talk. And now it's if you were to open it again and if he's actively writing, that yes, and whenever he's writing, he's hard to tell. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in essence, that seems true. If you open this folio, you would be there in that writer's room.
Now, the one snag is I don't know if he is if that was on his ship or if he was actively writing too. If we you know what I'm saying? I did not get good sense of where place was.
I think he had been
But-
actively writing. That was the loop
Yes.
we were going through.
So if he's in battle, there's good chance that he's writing. Because he could keep coming up with new terms. Now he does not have Illyria's book, but his ship seemed weird, right? It is not Illyria's ship.
Yeah.
Right.
So there is good chance. Now I cannot guarantee, and we're going to want to get close before we open book, because we want to be, on boat close to his boat, so you don't have to go far once I open book. So we'll have to get to that point, which gets dicey. But I don't know. There is riots outside. It does not sound like it is going well for anybody.
There are riots outside. There are townspeople and maybe even guards that could be convinced to do something with us or for us.
Where's
well.
Hopper? Isn't Hopper with Olivia?
Yeah, Hopper went to help Olivia, right? She
Yeah.
helped her. Yeah. Hopper will be back. He always comes back. Plus, I cast spell again.
Yeah. So that's possible. So would Yorick know? So if Malvolio was writing and Hamlet was writing at the same time, they'd both be there in the writer's room.
Yep.
Just, hey, what's up? How's it going? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that was how
Just a running
Hamlet.
sesh.
That's how Hamlet was teaching Malvolio how to use it more effectively, so that way he wouldn't just like accidentally unmake Illyria.
So they can still converse even in the writer's room, right?
Yeah,
Like,
in the
Right.
writer's room, it's the two of it's a writer's room. It's a place where people
Right.
can sit down and write together.
If Moth did that, his physical self would need protection. To
That's
be
what
in
I
a
say.
good
Yeah,
place.
you
Yeah.
need
But
to
it
carry me.
also means that as long as he could keep him there occupied, that Hamlet's physical self.
somebody can come and murk Hamlet.
Yes.
Now there will be guards there,
Yes.
but Hoppers can probably take care of himself, and then you two can help Hoppers.
Well,
I think that's good.
it's possible. Hoppers could take care of himself, and York should be able to get in pretty far.
Actually, to be fair, just totally meta, I probably can't control Hopper's thinking about because that's a concentration.
That's
I
true.
believe, right?
That's true. Yeah.
So I probably
Yeah.
I don't know if I could control that combat. But
Yeah.
he will have said that because Hoppers is awesome. So
But then somebody would probably need to be where Moth is.
Yeah.
I can protect Moth.
I figured you can carry me on back, one of you.
There's one other option.
I can carry you.
And York's looking at the ink blood in his hand, and it may be a plan B or C or D, and I'm having a crisis of faith even saying this. But if Hamlet's not in the writer's room, could alter Illyria's folio to our benefit. Soldiers, battlement, ballistas. I mean,
I'm not keen to do that.
I'm not either. It's not. It goes against everything.
That makes us
everything.
just as bad as Hamlet. And I'm a big believer that nobody should be writing in any of these stories, and we just let them play out the way they play out.
The problem is it's already been altered. Valyria is not the way it's supposed to be.
We need to get it back. And then we need to somehow get all of these folios together and lock them up so that nobody can touch them again.
What if I make helpful distraction, but it is not people? I do not like the idea of altering people or creating people because it feels even for mortals, but you guys have funny little lives, but it still feels ich. But what if I too create? Because the folio, and you telling me because you have in his head, I think that's how it worked. I don't know.
I just Malvolio's memories of how folios work. Yeah.
So I can create anything, right? It does not have to be people or alter people, right? I can create a tree or giant snail. I can create giant snail.
Yeah, you could. Write
There
it
are
down.
there
There it
are limitations.
is. Okay.
No, I was gonna ask, what is the control over like fae? Because I don't know if it's a little bit weird with like fae creatures. Because that's what
It's-
Moth would know.
Man, how to put this? It has to follow the Ludo narrative of the story to a certain degree.
All right.
You couldn't write Optimus Prime in
Yeah.
That's fair,
Folio
that's fair.
to make it happen. It has to make a degree of sense in order for it to work. Otherwise, whenever you try to write and it doesn't,
Racing snails.
there may or may not be consequences for trying to fudge the story in a way so that way it doesn't have a good narrative flow to it.
Because I don't even know if Moth knows about race horses. He would just know about racing snails.
Yeah. Think about it this way. If you could do anything with the folios, why hasn't Hamlet just used a folio to find and make all of the other
there's
folios
rules
just appear?
behind it,
There
yeah.
are some rules. Some of which Hamlet let Malvolio know of. Some of which Hamlet has kept to his chest.
Yeah.
Because he again never really fully trusted Malvolio.
And he might just not remember some of the stuff.
He might not
too,
remember
so.
some of the stuff, but there are some rules when using them.
Yeah, I don't know if that will work, Moth.
Is
but
what I'll say is that there are some rules when using them, but that'll come up,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you whenever it comes up.
But I do wonder, Moth, you were tasked by your queen to find the folio. You found it. We know where it is. Would there not be aid from your queen to come retrieve it?
Oh, what if? Hold up. Like, what if you were able to get the whole like Fey army happening?
Let me ask. I just think Titania really, really
You'd
hard.
like to commune with your patron.
You just
Yeah, okay. I'll say that getting a commune and getting her to notice you is like a 10-minute ritual, we'll say, in order to sort of contact her. So you like make your little summoning circle or whatever, and you do that, and you feel yourself sort of wrenched from that space, and physically he is remaining there, but some part of you your essence is being pulled away.
Ripped out, yeah.
And you're sent backstage to the throne room of Queen Titania.
Doesn't he just go limp and fall to the ground? When that happens?
Woo!
I'm hoping that's a good thing.
You stand before Queen Titania, not with the physical folio in hand, but with
Yeah.
as yourself, as your essence, your true self. None of the clothing and stuff that is
Thank
that
God.
adorns you, just in your straight primal true fairy self in front of her, and she stares. She sits lounging on a lounger, sort of little bits of ivory covering herself tastefully, while one of your siblings is feeding her grapes directly off the vine.
What a life.
Ooh, I still don't like that
Ooh,
travel.
I still don't like that. The other two respond in response to you saying that.
Yes, I
Yes!
have missed this
I
so
miss it
much.
so
Thank
much.
you. Oh, civilization.
So civilization.
Chorus, I love it.
I just fly back up and just do a little
You have your
spin.
wings back and you can fly normally again. Yes.
Ah, see, ah.
And Titania at that point sort of snaps and brings you back down to earth.
sorry.
Onto a kneeling position, and she says, "Moth, tell me you have good news, or I will be very cross with you."
Queen, I found a folio, but I found your folio too, the one we need.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, it is held by very angry. He's like what is the human term? Gothy. I don't think he got that out of his MCR phase. It's very weird. He's very angry. So. But tight pants, the whole thing. So, but no, I think I found it. He's attacking the city, and he's got a big, very angry army. And there's a bunch of people writing. They're gonna eat rich people, I guess. I don't know what that whole thing's about.
What city?
It's one of the human ones.
Which one?
Illyria. Yeah, that's it.
Oh
Illyria.
my god. Yes. Okay. Oh, jeez, I didn't think you would actually succeed.
Yes, I need army. I need racing snails. I need dragons. I need can we get the jousting dragonflies?
I'm not. The king was technically in charge of that. Okay. Give me just one moment, and she starts like from her one arm, many others begin to descend as she starts pulling at invisible threads on the spider silk like netting that is behind her. As she sort of tugs, and at doing so, these long threads basically fluctuate and pull other fairies from wherever they were, whether it be in the backstage or up on the main stage. Where you were, and they all just start popping in, and she starts giving out orders and is like trying to come up with some form of a plan, and basically says, "Okay, I've done what I can to get you some help. Moth, make me proud.
My queen, I will always make you
My
proud.
queen, we will always make you proud."
I miss this so much.
At which point, she dismisses you back to your body. You return to your dumpy little frame with its fake wings and wearing clothing.
You're back.
I am in with clothes. Yeah,
I thought you either traveled somewhere or died. I didn't know.
oh yeah, so I should have said something. I went to go see my queen.
Wonderful.
Well, what'd you say?
Oh, she's getting so she never told me where she's sending them, but she is sending help.
At that, you hear a rumbling.
Do I recognize it as dragons?
And
Please let it be dragons.
you hear the sound of what could only be described as scaffolding crumbling down, and the sound of a curtain ripping as you peek your head out of the windows of Malvolio's tower, and you see a sort of aurora borealis style ripple effect across the sky, about maybe about 100 or so feet wide, upon which that sound, and it sort of flutters, and you see the sky sort of fall like a curtain does and sort of waver there in the wind as this dark sort of miasmic flowing with an effervescent energy begins to sort of pour out of it, as the first thing you see is a gigantic hand reach out and steady itself, and then use another tower of the castle to pull itself out as a giant steps forth. And from that back from the giant, you see all manner of other fae begin to sort of pull out, and at least one legion, she was only able to scrape together, but one legion of fae has begun to pour out of the sky and is beginning to make its way towards, is basically making its way towards where the port is. Where because I'm assuming you told her, like, some guy.
Yeah, I was very frantic.
Yeah,
but
you're very. Some guy called Hammond. He's in the boat. Is now and facing towards the boat.
Oh, I hope a dragon comes.
My queen loves the drama, so I think you would get along with her.
Gee, well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Unfortunately, no dragon in the mix, but that's mostly just because even the queen of the fairies has a hard time getting a dragon to do something that it doesn't want to do.
Racing snails, though?
Yes, no, it's some of them. There are several wet slaps as little sprites on like man-sized snails are just yeah, and then slowly with little jousts, you hear a noise as just the fastest snails you ever see start going. They are going at probably something crazy like 10 miles per hour, like just. And you just see them going forward and leaning as the snails just sort of just.
There's somehow wind blowing back their hair.
There's wind blowing back. The hair is flowing. They've got like they're wearing like full. They're wearing full plates. They're in like these like modified seats that have like streamers going out behind them. As they're just slowly making their way down the coast. Everyone else would have to run around, but the thing is that because they're snails, they could just go over the cliff and just like start making their way down diagonally, and are just like
they never change speed.
They
it
never
doesn't
change
matter
speed.
what else.
Doesn't matter what it is, but it is a constant 10, like around 10 mph. So that's pretty fun.
Wow.
At that,
This is dramatic.
It's dramatic.
For a second, you all probably are like, "Oh, okay, cool. This is great. That'll make this a lot easier." And that is when a second ripping sound is heard.
Oh no.
And Moth, you are pulled back out of your body. And you stand instead of a green, sylvan, beautiful forest-like thing. You are dragged down, and you feel the immense pressure of the deep ocean. From there,
Under the
the
sea.
deep, cool blues of the waters is around you, and you recognize that you are no longer in Titania's court. You now stare down at the foot of a dais where a shackled and collar Oberon, king of the fairies and lord of the seas, is being ordered from what can only appear to be other lesser sea gods, Neptune, Poseidon, and
The knockoffs.
yes,
King Trident.
Trident, take your pick, or sort of standing there, your backs to you, and Oberon is like makes eye contact, and is pleading with you, and says, "Tell her I'm not doing this, please." At which point, the gods turn around, their ire like now fully at you, and you ported and are ripped back out. The sea writhes and ripples and tears away in that same curtain tearing noise, as instead of the hand of a forest giant covered in moss coming out like that had come from Titania's portal, instead the clawed, gnarled hand of a sea giant, its barnacles covering its knuckles and hands, pulls itself up from the ocean floor, like a sea pulls itself up from the ocean floor, like someone getting out of a pool, and begins to stomp its way towards the same giant sent by your queen. And a similar myriad other fae begin to march out and attempt to do battle with the fae that had been summoned to aid you. And now what has been a chaotic situation has become even more so, as in addition to the armies of man now clashing as the guards of Illyria begin, you see below, as the guards and armies of Illyria begin to mobilize and attempt to fight back a mobile garrison of what appears to be Danish knights that have been set forth from the ship as they begin to march toward the castle. And you see these two armies, the forces of Illyria and Titania, come and smash against the tidal wave of Oberon's legion, along with Hamlet's private and personal guard. And the fires that started that are at the base of the castle where you are now from the citizenry are beginning to be put out as the citizens are pouring away from the lower parts of the town to get away from the battle and making their way up towards the castle town in an attempt to try and save themselves from the ensuing chaos.
Oh no.
Quick question. The other gods that were down there, are any of them at least like have traces of Fae to them, or are they just totally separate from Fae at all?
They are part Fae.
Okay.
In the way that how to put this. Before Titania and Oberon were known, man told stories and gave names to the gods as a means to explain how the world around them worked, and in doing so created folios. Oberon and Titania are an expression of those natural forces, and other aspects of their forces are the various pantheons of gods that exist in this world. In this case, it appears that the folios have enough power that he was able to use them to, with the folio and with the help of these other aspects of the sea, bind Oberon.
So clearly, the queen has, outside of Oberon, she has some kind of control of feeling at least like a presence of where other Fae are.
Yes.
So, if I were to call out, try to get contact back into with my queen, and I told her who else did I recognize? That's the thing. Did I recognize the other gods that were down there? Could I tell her like it was this person?
You would know that it was other aspects of Oberon. The aspects of Poseidon, the aspects of Neptune, the aspects of Trident, the aspects of the Old Man of the Sea, the aspects of just that concept of the man who controls the waves.
Yeah.
Like you would feel that it's like you would know it's like he's been overtaken by these other aspects of himself, that he's being manipulated by the folio in some way.
So I'm gonna reach out to the queen again. Can I send her a message, or do I have to actually like?
Yeah, no. At this point, you've got a short line that she's
Yeah.
put in there because she needs eyes on the ground, and she's sort of pulled herself closer to this vantage point instead of just being in her.
She's interested now.
She's interested. Instead of being in her throne room lounging, she is more. It would be akin to a lord or a lady being off field of the battle with spy glasses, watching as their men do battle, with some form of messenger to tell them how to change things if so desired.
So I'm going to reach out to her and just, my queen, I found the king. He is surrounded by the other aspects. If you can find them, you can find the king. He is there. He is not controlling these other beasts. He is being controlled by them.
With that information, she gives a confirmation. And
I got you, fam.
Yeah, and with that, there's now a timetable as to when Oberon, like now she knows like where Oberon would be held captive and stuff, because he was able to pull you towards him as a means of getting a message out desperately whenever they were forcing him to open the gates to allow the armies to start marching on Illyria. He was able to put just enough of himself in there that he could contact you.
Grab me,
Yeah. And so there essentially there is now a timetable of when possibly Oberon might be able to wrest control again, but it would mean like she would have to take an army and march towards his thing, go through the backstage to get to where those oceans are, and then in addition fight those other aspects of Oberon.
Cool. Okay, so the lot just happened right there. I found my king. He was there. He's under the ocean. Okay, so there are fairies. There are good fairies, bad fairies, but don't ignore them. They'll cancel each other out. I still think our best bet, is to get to boat.
I'm just standing there, just going. I'm sorry, cancel each other out?
Yeah,
Because they have no idea what all this
it
stuff.
went
that
0 to
they have
100 real quick. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I'm just hearing commotion and like goon.
Yeah, no,
you're
seeing giants punch each other, and you're seeing like griffins like take to the sky and fighting knights on like gigantic seahorses.
Within about like
cancel each other
60 seconds.
out?
Yeah, within like a matter of 60 seconds, you've seen the world literally rip itself apart as parts of the backstage are pouring out, and things that are not usually a part of the main stage and are saved only for those extra special occasions have been flunged forth and are now tussling at each other over just a major metropolitan area.
All I wanted to do was make lipstick and textiles.
Yeah.
Some big kaiju energy happening right now.
George just looking out
Crazy.
the tower window, turns back to Moth and says, "That escalated quickly."
I told you, the Fae, we bring the drama.
The drama is
in ways I had no idea possible. Are we all gonna die?
Yeah. Okay. Look,
Yes.
With that, the door opens and Olivia stands at it, 2 torches in hand, like a lit torch and a pitchfork in hand, going, "We're all gonna die!"
Girl, calm down. I mean, we might. There's like a 90% chance at this point, but like,
What are we gonna do?
No, your first time is always, Don't
What?
worry about it.
what?
We have definitely ensured that Hamlet is going to be in his writing room now.
something is happening. There is something happening, and Miss Olivia, it is okay. Breathe. There you go. Just breathe into the nose, out through the
I'm
mouth.
a very well-to-do lady and have lived a very, very privileged life. I am not used to having this much stress.
That's fine, but you are now in charge of Valeria.
Olivia, you know what we're gonna do with that torch? We're gonna set some things on fire, girl.
Okay.
Can we talk about her
I
getting
don't
the
know
pitchfork
what
from
yet.
somewhere?
I don't know what yet. I just think flames good.
Okay. Okay, I can do flames.
Olivia, tell you, I need your help. You are respected among your people, correct? Because she's like, okay, I need you to.
I was Miss Illyria for 5 years running back before I took the
Work. Good job. I
Okay.
thought those dresses were beautiful.
Miss Lee, I need you to do something. There are people outside running around scared. You mortals are very easy to scare, as you can see. I need you to direct them. Tell them that there are good fae and bad fae. Don't attack them. Just attack mean people from boat.
Maybe
There are mean people from boat? I was just talking about the giants. And she looks over and she sees like the mounted knights like pouring out from Hamlet's boat. And she's like, okay.
See those bad guys. You take those fae will fight those fae, but then hopefully soon they'll all be good fae again. It's very complicated situation.
Yeah.
But you take good guys and fight bad guys and good.
Okay,
Huh?
I'm going to make a luck roll real quick. You want high on this dice?
Good juju.
I rolled a 19. Okay.
all right.
That is good juju for you guys. At which point she says, okay, I need
Olivia,
help.
Olivia, hear me.
Okay. Did
you-
Malvolio say anything about where my first husband and
this
my
got
friends are?
Do you remember?
Would I have gotten anything from that as Malvolio?
You would have gotten a little bit of that, and especially after seeing the map with the hidden tunnel.
Okay.
After seeing that, you would gather that hidden tunnel would probably be a really good place to keep people locked up.
It's like, yeah, I think I have the answer. Let's go. Let's talk as we walk. Let's go.
Okay, and then she's gonna follow you because she's like, she's only one noble, but if there were the other nobles of Illyria there, then she would have the opportunity to like that's enough clout that she's like, with that we could definitely start mounting someone because she doesn't have enough military experience.
All right.
But there are there are technically 3 spy masters among that group, with Sebastian and Orsino and like everybody else. Like she's just like, yeah, there are enough spy masters around that we can make this work.
Olivia. So we're gonna take a deep breath. We're gonna let the fear go,
Okay.
and we are going to think warrior queen.
Okay.
Warrior queen.
Warrior queen.
Warrior queen.
Warrior queen.
You're gonna
Warrior
lead your
queen.
people to safety. You're gonna lead your people into battle.
We can do
Warrior
this.
queen.
Okay. Warrior queen.
I don't know what the hell I'm telling her. I'm just saying words. Warrior queen.
Warrior queen.
Okay.
Okay. She sort of straightens up at that and walks you guys down. After exiting the room, you see the utter chaos that has been left on that. You see people running back and forth with pails of water trying to put out fires. You see both commoners and nobles just sort of like running in the same directions, just like talking back and forth, trying to figure out what the heck happened. What was at first a call for class warfare is now a moment of survival as the Fae have descended and are beginning to rip apart their city. We all want to eat the rich, but things kind of change different when Godzilla shows up, apparently. So
This does Yorick's heart good as he sees the collapse of hierarchy.
Yes.
He, as a shadow player, he is happy about this.
yes,
Wow.
with that, you see, she takes you to a back room. And past that are some auxiliary kitchens for the kitchen staff.
Here, on
and
that,
then
like this.
past that, you then go to a pantry. At which point she sort of like she still has the pitchfork and then just starts stabbing at the wall until eventually the like plaster that was there that was obfuscating the fake room starts to fall away, and
Ooh,
she's able to
girl.
just like and then she's like, okay, and then she just starts like, Sebastian, and at which
There's a
point
lever right there. I don't know.
she starts yelling out, and you see turning around the corner, tired, emaciated, covered in just like a dense beard. You see Sebastian, you see Dork Orsino, you see Valeria, you see all of the nobles from Illyria from the past. They're tired, probably at like a bit emaciated, and just like gun shy, and you just see them and they just start weeping as they just run towards Olivia.
She broke down a wall for them. That's so sweet.
And they all start crying, and with like sobbing, she starts trying to explain to them what is happening. And Sebastian and Orsino are just like, but fortunately, they start trying to come up with plans, and it's like, okay, what can we do to try to figure out what to do. And it's eventually Viola that gets everyone to stop panicking, and Viola, standing there next to her brother, gets everyone to calm down and tells them that they are all so capable.
She's so sensible.
And that it's going to be hard, but they can work together, and the 4 of them can fix this. And so she takes her Duke Orsino's hand, she takes her brother's hand, and then tells her sister, her sister, by way of just true friendship, to take her Duke's hand, and they begin to leave and wish you all good luck.
Before they leave, this isn't a spell slot, it's just a feature. It's counter charm. And it's just as an action I can perform. Any friendly creature in a 30-foot radius gains advantage on saving throws against being frightened or charmed.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that to the entire group as she's talking.
Yeah.
Just kind of calm everybody down.
Just everyone
kind of a free
calms
action.
down. They all sort of like stand up straight. They start going out, trying to find everyone else that they need to find, and begin the very arduous process of trying to get Illyria handling a Fey incursion along with an act of war from Denmark. And with that, there is a spooky passageway.
Yeah. I think this is our way. This direction.
On the way, would there have been any chance for me to grab a torch?
Yeah. There's bits of fire all over the place and bits of wood all over
I
the
would have
place.
grabbed the torch on the way in.
Yeah.
I have low light, but I don't know what the
Yeah.
situation is. So.
So as we're walking and talking, are we going? We're going down the tunnel.
Yeah, I mean, I'm walking with a purpose.
All right. Yeah.
I'd like to grab a torch too.
Yeah.
just in
So
case.
yeah, I'm
Just
gonna
holding
say
it.
at the end of this tunnel. Let's see if there's a
You
place.
find
where,
an ex-rider who at that point is like doing like a med pack on somebody, and you're just like, "Can I borrow this?" And they're like, "Yeah," and they're just like trying to like staunch
Yeah.
someone bleeding, and they're just like, "Oh Jesus!"
So
This is nasty business.
fast. Yeah. Like I said, escalated quickly.
Really did.
Yeah. I'm talking to Moth on the way down the tunnel. It says, Moth, if you think you can take this folio and open it and meet Hamlet in the writing room and do anything you can, just keep him there as long as possible. I'm going to go find him.
Okay, I will not say it too bad for your dead family.
Whatever it takes to keep him there. And I'm going to say, I'm also going to explain to him what I know about writing in the folio, just in case. Who knows? I'm going to give the ink to Moth and a nibbed quill to Moth too.
Yeah.
I don't know, Moth. I'll leave this with you.
I figure I have to at least scribble something to get in there. So,
Yeah. So the
I have one request.
yes.
I just want to be able to punch Hamlet in the face just once.
so the question
Just
then
once. He was so rude.
we gotta know where Moth's going to write. Do we need someone to stay and protect him,
I need to protect him.
or do you need to come with me?
Well, okay. So my idea is, what do you humans call it? A backpack.
Yeah.
You could put me.
He can piggyback
rope,
me.
You put backpack, and I am backpack.
Okay.
I love this idea.
I will say that if you spend about 10 minutes, you can make a little papoose for Moth.
Let's go.
Yes.
Let's go.
There is with the backpacks and like random bits and bobs and everything, straps,
Going in like The
cloth and
Hangover.
everything. You
I, like
can
I just keep pulling it all out of my backpack. I got random bits, a
Yeah,
handkerchief and stuff.
Oh my gosh,
and
Moth,
stuff.
you're surprisingly
you know
heavy.
how to sew. Like I will say that it'll take you about 10 minutes to just make
Fashion bag.
a moth-sized papoose.
Hashtag fashion.
I just want to see
It's super cute.
I want to see Galifianakis with the baby from The Hangover. That's
Yeah.
what I see.
So it's just you standing there, dagger in hand, like with like a wizard's staff, and then just Moth holding a book and a quill, and just like, let's go.
Action music. Da, 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 da.
Yeah. So at the end of the tunnel, what do we find?
So you start running. Before that, Moth, when are you going to start riding?
So the idea was that we would get as close, like my in my head, the image is we get on our boat, whatever. I'm assuming it's like a small, almost like a rowboat type of stealthy getaway. We take that. It's a big, they've got giants. They've got all this stuff fighting. They're not looking for a little boat coming from behind them. So my idea is you almost pull up behind them.
Yes.
And then I can start riding the full, riding in there right as they're ready to basically start climbing on board.
Yeah.
Because I don't.
Yeah,
Extraction's only gonna last so
Okay.
long.
So you make your way winding through the tower. You explain to Moth like what you know about how to use the folio and everything else from whenever you were in Malvolio's head. And from there, you make it to the end of the tunnel, and it opens up, and you see in a private dock the most ostentatious yacht you have ever seen.
This is tacky, even by my standards.
So much for stealth.
Because this is Malvolio's yacht. It is not flashy. It is just a very nice, like polished, hardwood, very clean, perfect sails, like clean lines, nothing flashy, but it is like it's a yacht, guys.
What about like a dinghy on the side or a rowboat anywhere else
that's
around?
What I ask. Is there some sort of lifeboat with it?
There is a lifeboat.
Okay, so here's what I think we do. What if we set Gaudy boat towards so I draw like a bit in the ground.
No, I see
And
where
so
you're going. I see where you're going with
There's
this.
the shoreline. Here's boat, right? Shoreline, boat. We send our boat here in front. It almost looks like it tried to hit but miss, and we come round behind,
And climb the boat.
just so you can see the drawing.
All right.
And we come from behind. They look at big boat, think that is our number one shot, but we're really a little boat here.
Always
Moss, I
be
like
afraid
the
of
way
the
you
second
think.
swallow.
I'm all for it.
Sounds good to me.
I said, the faith in Moth has just exponentially grown with the skies ripping open. He's like, okay, all right.
I used to be general commander. He didn't know that. Of 4th Legion.
Not so much the faith in Moth, but the faith in that the script has led me to Moth on purpose. Yeah.
It's just like, oh.
Yes. Yeah.
So with that, there are a couple of rolls to get the to aim and move the
And I figured that one would be tough.
the yacht, the little dinghy like a lifeboat that you guys would use with like some paddles and stuff. You can take care of that. That's doable. You've got 3 people. One of them is small. Like you're good. These can normally be rowed by one individual to like move like a dozen or so people relatively easily. Like you're fine on that end. The problem is getting the yacht and aiming it in the direction that you want it to. So with that, because this is 5th edition and sailing is not its own skill, I'm going to say
You Spelljammer rules.
I'm just like roll a survival.
That's what I was
Before any rolls are made, Yorick voices the fact that he has faith in the script and that where we are, just to give everybody, you got a bardic inspiration for whatever we need.
Yeah.
So you got a D8 on whatever we're working on right now. So
Yeah, so we'll roll for survival on this.
survival.
Yeah, and we'll
I
average
have got.
everyone's rolls.
I'll give. Oh, we're doing a group roll.
Group roll.
Okay.
18.
14.
5.
Oh.
Let me add my bardic inspiration.
Oh, that's right. We can add bardic inspiration to that, yeah?
You did pretty good. I'm gonna save it.
I'll keep my 14.
Okay, what did I say? So 10.
10? Okay. So an 18, a 14, and a 10. 10, 12,
You can throw your bardic in there if you want. We're averaging, so I guess every roll that's higher helps every roll, right?
This is gonna just barely doesn't hit the mark. So I will say you get, instead of it doing what you want to do, at a certain point in time, they're going to start unleashing cannon fire on the yacht, and they're going to hit the yacht, and it's going to start sinking. And at a certain point, they will have enough time to get
It's not terrible. That's when we drop.
D3 shots at you. 2. They will get 2 cannon shots to try to hit your dinghy. At which point you will have the rather odious task of trying to find another way onto the boat.
But they will have seen the
They will see the dinghy, and they will have enough time to, like, the last 2 cannon shots they would have before the boat, your dinghy, would make direct contact with the boat in the way that they do not have the means of shooting.
What if
What EF?
What if after the boat goes down, I create a minor illusion of a rock in front of our dinghy, so when they go to scan, we're behind a rock.
For that, I will roll a...
Deception?
I will. Well, you're doing deception, so I will roll a perception check for the 2 gunmen, a one on each of the cannons, to see if they notice that's not a rock, and if one of them notices, then he'll take the shot. If the other one doesn't notice, he won't take.
Wait,
the shot.
how far away are they from us?
I'm gonna say about. Cannons can shoot very far, but they have a limited enough range, so I will say about 140 feet.
So what are they rolling against? Are they rolling against Yorick's deception?
They're rolling.
Against
They're
the
rolling
rock.
their perception to see if they notice that the rock is not a rock.
Because I'm hoping that they never see us, because I don't want them to be prepped for
Yeah.
us on the boat. At all.
Well, can I give him through deception? Can I give him the help action?
yes, and that will raise the DC that they need to make on this. Perception check.
I'm assuming I'm not rolling.
Yeah. There's not really a roll because you're just like illusion, and they have to just be like,
because I almost made another
because it
boat.
looks like a rock.
Yeah.
They just need to.
Yeah.
It's more of do they remember that, but like change blindness. Was there a rock there before?
Gotcha.
Yeah, because I was gonna make another boat, but I don't want them knowing about us at
Well,
all.
one of them doesn't. One of them straight up is like. Is just patting himself on the back for helping take down the yacht that was
Thank
like
you.
Done.
fruitlessly trying to do it, and the other one though does in fact go. Wait a second, and he's gonna take his shot
I want to cast magic missile on that one.
on the one that's on specifically. Okay, so you'll get to magic missile, but the cannonball is happening.
First. Yeah, he's first.
Mage hand, grab it.
The AC of the boat is 14. He rolled a 13. He misses. Just barely. You hear the pew as the cannon volleys at you and lands like right to the right of you. There's a as you're all covered in sea foam, and as at the last second, the oar almost gets clipped by it as York is just like, trying to get you guys over there, and you're just able to, from that explosion, it pushes you slightly off, but you're able to circle around and just about make base contact with the boat.
I
See,
wanna-
exactly how I called it.
I still want to shoot magic missile at these two gunmen so that they don't turn around.
Well, can you see them at this point?
We're about 120 feet away.
Is that what you said?
Yeah,
Okay.
so they are.
I missed that part.
They are in. So the good news is this is magic missile.
It can go wherever I tell
So
it to go.
it can go wherever she wants it to go. So unless they're in 100% full cover, that's like the only way they wouldn't be able to hit. And
Just
yeah,
go all
so
on the one that saw us.
yeah, the one, yeah. So you would technically be able to like that one is the one that he shot at, and you would be able to
That
point
one.
that one. Yeah,
So yeah, I'm gonna unleash magic missile on him.
on both of them or on one of them?
On the one who
on the
still
one
saw
that,
us.
on the one that took the shot. Okay.
Yeah.
So we can just try to blitz about. I'll do an Eldritch Blast. You miss magic missile. Just try to blast them out real quick.
I'm gonna get it with my third level slot.
Okay.
Take him out. Nobody knows.
That is a damage of 4. And
Three missiles though.
that's
Yeah.
4, 5, and 4.
There's no bonus to those.
They're what?
There's no bonus to those.
It's 1d4 plus 1, and then an additional d4 for each level that you put into it.
Additional oh wow.
I believe so. Like whenever
Did
you
you roll
when
it
you,
as-
when you upcast magic missile, it's 3d4 plus
So you
1
have two more
darts,
d4s for each of those.
and then
rolls.
Yeah.
it's another d4 dart for each level.
You can click it on your third level, and it'll roll them all for you.
Go thingy.
Oh, I forgot about
Here
the
we go,
management
yeah.
courses.
Yeah, I did that and it's still coming out.
We can just do physical die. Just roll 2.
Oh, what
two
level is
D4s.
this?
Third
Oh,
level.
Okay, it is 1d4 plus 1. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Above it's above third, I think, that you begin to.
That's
that what
when
it is?
yeah.
Oh,
Once you
okay.
get above 3rd, that's
Yeah.
when it starts getting
Okay.
wild.
Well, either way, it's enough. These guys are like first level sailors.
Oh, good.
You're
So then we get like
They're
the
cannon
pink
men.
sparkly
Yeah.
missiles that are going yes.
And since there's Fae everywhere, they wouldn't even suspect that it's something else. They would just think it's Fae because
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
a weird Fae.
and it just tunk, and just like glitter explodes off of the side of the porthole where the cannon was, and you just hear a as a guy just tumbles out and just like splashes in the water.
He
and
just Wilhelmed.
and it's just Wilhelm, and you just see a guy floating like face down in the water, just like 3 like sparkly pink glow sticks sticking out of him.
Yeah.
That's what he gets
see.
for shooting at us.
I picture like York with his crossbow and Moth. We just like, oh, okay.
Don't shoot at us then.
As we get closer, who's wearing Moth?
I am.
You're gonna wear Moth?
Moth is
Okay.
I'm
Because
carrying
you're a
Moth.
melee bard, right? So I guess it makes more sense. You're kind of in between, yeah.
Yeah, not much melee.
I'm just
I
going
just
to
used
be
the dagger a couple times. So I was
Yeah.
like,
I'm gonna be as far back as I can, so whatever spell I can cast, I can do it so without getting Moth
Yeah.
hit.
I can to attack with my light weapons, and I got a little extra damage I can add to it. But
I just remember using your dagger, so
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. You know.
Yeah.
I know that there's the swords bards and stuff. Okay.
Nah, I'm a dagger crossbow guy.
All right.
All right, so as we get closer to the boat,
Yeah.
are we able to get up to maybe a drop ladder or?
So they have pulled up all of the drop ladders. So you're gonna have to figure out a way how to climb the boat.
All right. That's not my forte.
Oh, will this help? I pull out. I think I have 50 feet of rope.
That would help.
That,
That
50
would be
feet-
really
yeah,
helpful.
50 feet of rope and then a makeshift grappling hook would help.
I don't know if I have a grappling hook, but I do have rope. Where's my?
One of my favorite things to do is to get a grappling rope and then use the grappling rope to grapple things that are away from me. Using
I do have an
grappling
extra.
skill.
I have an extra dagger that we can tie into the end of that to help as at least a weight on there.
That
You know
would
what?
technically
I've got a
work.
dagger too.
Yeah, because I took the adventures. So yeah, so I give you the 50 feet of rope and my dagger, the extra dagger I have. Will these help?
Yes.
Okay. Someone needs to make an athletics check to hurl the makeshift grappling hook onto something.
Who's got the better athletics roll? Because I only have a +1.
I'm a +1 athletics too.
I'm a +1 as well.
All right.
Alright.
I can do it though. I have not to get too meta, but I have lucky at the very least. So if we're all
Okay.
gonna be the same, at least we can get a one.
So you roll, and I'll give you the help action. I'll help you.
I like to imagine you're holding me up.
There you go.
Yeah.
Like
Take him
I
off
come
my
back.
Yeah.
And you're just
Yeah.
Ah, 7.
We got that. You've got a bardic, and you've got luck. Let's see what we can do.
yeah.
So what is the how much does the help add?
Advantage.
It gives you advantage.
Oh, okay, cool. If it has advantage, so the first one I used his help action, so I re-rolled it. The re-roll was a 1. Does then my luck kick in because that's technically that?
So advantage wasn't a reroll. You just rolled 2,
Yes. I will say.
and you get to reroll all ones. That's what luck says,
I
right?
will
Yeah,
say
except but
yes.
unless the luck roll itself, you can't redo the luck roll
I
itself.
am not sure if that is raw, but I will say yes in this case because
Thank
it
God.
makes the most
I
sense.
think
to me.
I'm
it's
gonna retire
wrong.
that one. I'm gonna use this one now.
Yeah.
So it's 13 plus 1, so 14.
Bardic
14.
inspiration.
Oh, plus Bardic, which is a D8.
D8.
So I'm a D8. No. That's a 10. Sorry. Jesus, I'm struggling. Where's my D8?
It's the two pyramids together.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's. Oh, sorry. That's a 6. I'm an idiot.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking 9.
A 6 for a total.
So 14. Yeah, 40. So 20. Dirty
20.
30,
Yes,
20.
that will work.
Hey.
You needed to roll that bardic inspiration because 14 would not have gotten it. But a dirty 20 absolutely will. You are able to hurl the makeshift grappling hook to the top. The 2 daggers on either end and everything, you've wrapped it up tight enough, latches on, and you're able to get a taut line onto this onto the back of the ship. You hear like yelling and stuff from the surface, but it doesn't look like anyone's like heard about you guys quite yet. So now I will say that I'm not going to make you roll to climb up the thing, but I will have you guys roll stealth to not get noticed.
Do I need to roll it even a papoose?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Stealth. 11.
Wait, I can use my bardic inspiration, right?
You still have your bardic.
Okay. It's a 1d8?
Yep.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, that brings me to 14.
14,
27.
27,
I said 11, right? Yeah,
11. Okay. I'm going to average everything together here.
Yay for 27.
And your 27 really helps everybody out.
There you go.
Literally, there are points where they're about to make a step, and you put your foot underneath where they would step, and
Nope.
hold or your hand out and be like, and then when they're like, "Why?" you like press a single like big toe on it, and a tiny, almost inaudible squeak comes out from the deck, and you're like, because you knew, you could tell from the looks, like that one would squeak. Don't step on that one. So you are able to clamber silently amongst the ship. At the top, you see a flurry of activity as different sailors are barking orders at each other. some of which are in half plate or full plates. You see that from the dock, that you can see from the from higher up. You can see that the dock that there are men in armor coming back and forth, basically getting going up, meeting someone. Some of them will show up and they will basically get you see a man who has just this massive gash in his arm, and you see some sort of like, I'll say priest for lack of a better word, reaching in and like dipping his hand in this like black ichor, slapping it on his wrist, saying something over it, and then getting a clean cloth and then wiping it away. And you see nothing. There's no gash anymore. There's a light scar and a dark stain on his skin where the ink was.
What did he pull the stuff out of?
It looks to be some sort of like earthenware jar.
That he's on his person, or like there on the ship? Or?
It's there on the ship.
Okay.
Yeah. It seems to be some sort of earthenware jar that he's got it. Roll perception for me.
How far away are they from us?
I'm gonna say about 80 feet.
Okay. Are we all rolling perception?
Anybody wants to perceive?
Anybody who wants to perceive something that is maybe a bigger deal.
24.
Good, just 12 for me.
You notice on the edges and in that earthenware jar, pieces of parchment that look like they've been burnt that are inside of it as he's slapping it on the wounds in order to heal the guy.
These are all those ink monsters.
I want to get close enough to them so that I can use suggestion and make them all hug each other instead of actually manning the boat.
Not yet. We need to get to Hamlet. We stop him, everything else stops.
Yeah, we need
But
to stay.
we need a clear path to Hamlet.
But we don't need him to know we're here. If he's riding, controlling the war, he's in a trance in his captain's quarters right now, while he's in the writing room writing.
Right.
So if he knows there's trouble on the ship coming for him, he comes out of that writing room.
Okay.
That's why I said they should hug each other.
I'm looking out here. We see the ship. I'm assuming we're coming from like the back corner of it, right?
Yeah.
I didn't get my head. Back of the ship comes out to the front. I'm assuming everyone's pretty much on the front side, right? No one's really manning the back side of it because there's no threat on the back side.
Yeah,
Again,
basically.
rough idea.
There's you're essentially on the poop deck.
Yeah.
And so you're sort of hidden behind where the one of the essentially one of the storage areas would be.
Okay. So if we were to set up a distraction, because their attention's that way, setting up a distraction is more theoretically possible because people aren't going left, right, up, and down. People are going
Oh yeah,
left and up.
everyone right now is very focused on the battle.
Okay.
So what if, I know you like to create fire,
I really do.
what if we make fire, and again, I'm assuming that there's like a stairway down. We're at the back of it. That's
You're at the back of the
there's going to be
ship.
like a stairway into
So the way that the ship is structured, from what you can see, you look down and around. You are in the back. From here, you see a hull where you would be able to basically go down, and that would go into the bowels of the ship, where they would keep things like crew's quarters, storage for food and water, and things like that. Right. Towards the front end of the ship, you see a doorway that is embossed against the front near the where the tackle line and everything else is sort of trailing up on. You would know enough about ships to know that, oh hey, that's the captain's quarters. It's near the steering wheel and everything else. Like you can see, there's someone currently like standing next to it and everything, and you see that also there are 2 guards posted up in front of it. And they're the only ones that are not moving. Everyone else is like moving around and everything, but there are 2 guys that are dedicatedly standing in front of what looks to be some sort of captain's quarters. In addition, along the sides, there appears to be some guys manning like harpoon guns. And near the very front, there seems to be an individual in full armor helmeted head that is barking orders down at the front of the dock. And those orders are being waylaid and sent out to other people.
Okay, so you like fire. This boat is made out of wood and does not like fire. What if you make fire over there?
Okay.
And then I go into book. I cannot help you after that, and I cannot have helpers help you. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But I will start book, and then you two. I don't know what captain is. Maybe you know, but it looks like there's something important over there.
if he's got a
That's,
couple
that's
of
the
guards,
captain quarters, and that's the guards. What I can do while you're making the distraction is this. And I'm going to look at the guy in armor barking orders, disguise self as him. Swoosh. I'll get those two out. I'm going in the captain's quarters. You distract until you can't, and you need to bring Moth and meet me in there if things get bad.
Okay. I'm gonna cast the fire first. Yeah?
Well, yeah, and then when it goes off, I'm gonna run down and I'm gonna start yelling at these guys to deceive them. Go, put out the fire. I need you up there now, and in the captain's quarters. That'll get me in.
Okay.
There may be more inside. I do not
may be
see
more
him leaving
inside.
himself alone.
I don't either.
You may need to fight them, but if you and so if there's no way for them to draw me out, correct? Like if I had them like, if I made like a tell.
Not until you make the conscious decision to stop writing.
Okay, if what you told me is true, I cannot come out of it. So I will be in there until he is no longer distracted. When I come back, it is squeaky bum time. Okay, so but I will start writing book now, and then it's up to you. I believe in you.
Yeah. So you're going in and you're gonna keep him in there. I mean, you have a reason to be there. You're looking for a folio too, right?
Really quick, what language do you guys do for this book? You guys have so many languages.
The Valerian book would be common, I guess, the equivalent of
Yeah,
common, right?
Illyrian would just be in the common script, which in this case is English. Literally the king's English.
I think I know that one. I'm assuming it's going to have total spelling errors, but I think I know that one. So, yeah, I give a nod, pull out my quill, and put it to paper.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
What you guys see is him essentially go what looks to be comatose, just but his hand is moving and writing.
Okay.
This goes dead weight on your back.
Yeah, just
Oh my god! He's heavier than he looks!
It is muscle.
Sheesh. Okay. I'm gonna cast Fireball 150 feet.
Yeah.
So that it looks like the attack is almost like a Fey attack where just all of a sudden
Yeah.
Center on the guy in armor.
Okay.
Just saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Want to be careful that we don't actually like bomb a hole in our ship.
Well, we only need it to be a ship for a little longer.
That's not bad either.
Well, okay, I just want to point something out. Like the first time I used Fireball, I got nothing but mess on the way home. Where David was like, "Really, Fireball, Fireball, Becky," and I was like, "It was a good spell."
I thought it was blast. And now we were telling you fireball.
Oh, now I can do Fireball. Okay.
Go Pitbull on him. Baby.
Oh boy. Okay. That is a 29 damage.
Yeah, and they need to make a save.
Yep. 15.
Okay. This is for essentially the special lieutenants. This one is for the common soldier.
All right.
The common soldiers do not save the lieutenants that are up there do. And so it's a full 29 damage.
Yep.
Okay. Let me read up on my.
This fireball does not look like my last fireball, which was like rageful and like bright red and orange and angry. This one is like like pearl iridescent.
Okay.
So it looks as fey as I possibly can make it look.
I love that your fireballs have a color palette.
Yes, why not?
Okay.
Or mention like the Lego movie, the second one.
Upon the fireball exploding, you see the men who are in full armor brace themselves and stand up from the ash. You can't see their faces. It's covered in this big illustrious golden helmets with a patch on the arm that shows the flag of Denmark. And they are their what was capes are now like singed. Their weapons are now they're basically like holding their breaths, coughing, and start screaming. But what you also see is all of those common men wearing essentially like nothing but leathers, looking like sailors or like common like foot soldiers and stuff. What human faces they had are now melting away as the inky fillings of what was there of their skin begin to slough off, and instead you see patches of ink begin to appear on them. Burning parchment begins to come off of them, and they all start screaming as they are set ablaze, and the lieutenants are now at this point scrambling, trying to get them to calm down. You see that they're the roll a perception.
Nine.
Okay.
Wait, can I use my inspiration on that?
Yes, you may. Well, yeah. No, you.
But you already used
I
it.
already used it.
You
Dang
used
it.
it because you had an 8.
Yeah. Okay. On a 9, those captains look right pissed as they're trying to figure out what the hell just happened. And they start scanning the skies, worried. And you hear one of them yell, "Was there a dragon?" as they begin to sort of look around to try to see if that's what caused it.
the dragon.
However, everyone is still standing after that. No one has taken lethal damage from that fireball.
So I would have
Is the
timed.
ship on fire?
I'm going to roll for that.
Was the real.
Oh, yeah,
That's
true.
what I was concerned
I'm going to
about.
roll for that. You want a low number on this.
I sure do.
The ship is not on fire.
Yes.
It is not on fire. It is.
Yes.
It is still.
We wanted fire.
Parts of it are.
I don't want us to die yet. I want to go and gather him up first.
There are some surface scorch marks, and there are maybe some things like tapestries, and some of the sails are beginning to burn and stuff, but none of the structural integrity parts of the ship
Having, like
have
a
caught.
little fire?
They're just kindling, basically. All the stuff that's kindling is on fire. If it were to continue on for another 20-30 minutes, yeah, probably it would set on fire. But that's why now the lieutenants are starting to bark orders to try to get guys to start putting out the fires.
I like to think in the ballroom, the little parchments are like little embers now.
Yeah.
I would have timed my approach to just. They
Yeah.
turn to I want to be right there when they turn back
Roll
around.
both. Just go ahead for me. Roll both deception and stealth.
All right. Stealth
Stealthception.
is 18.
Okay.
Delph.
Deception is 14 plus 11, 25.
25. Okay.
okay.
So first roll I'm going to do is to see if any
Okay,
of them
Right?
pick up that you are disguising yourself.
Okay.
I'm a bard.
What was your deception roll?
25.
25. Okay, yeah, none of them. Everyone except for so with the exception of the guy that you're imitating, none of them when looking at you would think that you're not him. They think that he's just moved at some point and they just weren't paying attention.
Yeah, so I'm just talking to the 2 guards
Yeah,
that were
'cause
not.
you're just moving to the 2 guards.
Yeah,
But
and
other
I'm
people
saying-
can see you as you begin to move your way.
Yeah,
So you just
yeah.
need to not have that
Yeah.
guy notice you.
I'm going to say, go, help, go.
And for that, I'm gonna roll his. So that means that the perception roll for everyone else straight up don't matter, because none of them, if they would all think that you're just him, so it doesn't matter if they notice you. What does matter is if he notices you. So I'm gonna roll 1 dice for him, and you need him to not notice you. If he notices you, then that complicates things. What did you roll for your stealth?
18.
18. Oh yeah, no, he's way too focused on everything else. He's staying at the front now, looking up at the sails, trying to tell sailors to climb up the mast to try to put them out.
So
a
I
bunch
found
of
that-
them, however, are having hard times doing that because half of their bodies are melting.
So I found that perfect balance in barking orders but not shouting them.
Yeah.
Like, get up there now and help.
And they're
Yeah.
just like, yes, sir. or because they can't talk anymore as their disguises are
Did
failing.
did she hit the guards too?
From where
Or was
she
it like-
was, that from where, because you were focusing on the guy that you hit, and whenever it exploded, and it just, I'm gonna say that what's the range on the fireball? Like how many, from the center point, how big does it go?
150 feet.
No,
No, the explosion.
the actual area effect.
20-foot radius.
20-foot radius. Okay, from the 20-foot radius,
So 10 feet out.
the guys there would be in half cover. So I would say that would give them the benefits. They are not the commons. They're in that lieutenant class. So I'm going to say that they did take some damage. So now they're like, what is going on? And like looking around trying to figure out what just occurred.
Help. Go.
Yeah, and they're just sort of, but they're just like, what about Master Hamlet? We
Go.
can't.
If the ship goes down, it doesn't matter. Go now.
And one of them just like at that roar, you see that like his arm sort of extends out as he turns. And like drags across the edge of where he was standing and leaves like this black ink trail as his frustrations sort of let him drop his like disguise. And the other one just sort of like you see him almost like you can't see his eyes because of the helmet, but he like sort of rolls his eyes and just like pats his buddy on the back and is just like, sorry boss, we'll take care of it. Come on, man.
As they walk off, I'm gonna possibly call. I turn back to Rosalind. Does she have a clear path to make it into this door now?
Because I'm going to start making my way down.
I was thinking, it was in my head.
So he was able to make that clear path. There is so much activity that you would have to roll from where you're currently standing. No one, because your stuff is you're still there. You cast that spell, but it was essentially arced over. So from where you are, you're currently hidden. No one's gone around because there's no fires in the back, and everyone's focusing on those fires. There is a bunch of activity of people going back and forth and going up and down, like taking bilge buckets and like trying to use them to put out the fire. So you could try to make your way through there, but you would have to roll an absolutely insane stealth score.
I'm gonna
especially with disadvantage because you have
I've got moth on me.
you have a halfling attached to your chest and a papoose.
Yeah.
All right.
What if she puts a blanket up, like, in front of her?
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna find you eventually. I'm gonna point so I can whisper. I'm like, don't be found. Give me a minute to clear this room out and then see if you can get in here. I don't know what would be a safer place to be.
Okay.
I'm just
How
gonna
much
say.
longer do I have? Because
I'm gonna leave it up to you.
we can't keep him in this state forever.
Right, but if you come in here, you bring him in too. Maybe we can go in there and bar ourselves in. Let me make sure it's clear. And I'm gonna go in the captain's quarters. I'll go into that room.
Yeah.
And see what I see.
With that, we're gonna port to a comatose moth.
All right.
You see yourself in the writer's room. The Tapestry of Illyria behind you. You sit at a desk, and across from you in another desk is a furiously writing Hamlet. He looks disheveled at this point, and he's sort of muttering to himself, and he's just like, let's do that, and then, what do you mean the giant steps? God, come on. And he just sort of like dips again and just starts scratching out from that. And he's like, stop breaking the duck. And at which point he just sort of looks up and he's like, you're not Yorick. What are you doing?
Oh, it's good observation. And I walk over to another one of the desks and just sat down like I'm supposed to be there. Don't mind me. I get the writing session too.
What? No. What? It's not supposed to. You're an idiot. It's not supposed to be you. It's supposed to be me versus Yorick. What are you doing?
That's rude. I'm just trying to write my book, man.
It's not your book. It's a folio. What is... Oh, God. Why is nothing working the way it's supposed to? This was supposed to...
Actually,
everything have to be so hard.
Quick question. How do you spell snails in your language?
S-N-A-I-L. S. Sound it out. What is happening?
Well, you say that, but then is someone used a fiance in some of the words? There's no S in fiance, so
Because it's French.
yeah, but you use it too. I
There
mean,
are multiple languages. We borrow words from each other.
sir,
Why am I arguing etymology with you? What is happening? No. Stop. No. Damn it. I've messed up. I have to turn the page. Okay. Is there anywhere in the back where I could change that?
So if I call them giant snails, is it 2 words in there or is it 1?
Stop asking me inane questions. It's 2 words. And of course it's 2 words. What, you think it's going to be hyphenated?
Oh, That's the word. I couldn't think of hyphenate. Is it hyphenated?
No, it is not hyphenated. You only hyphenate words whenever you are using it as an in place for a noun, in front of a noun, as in pick up game of bowls is different from picking up an object. You pick up an object, there is a pickup game. It is a descriptor for a noun when used as an adjective. That is when you hyphenate. So why am I arguing with you about this?
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. And so he writes giant snail appears.
You write giant snail appears.
He writes giant snail appears.
Make a constitution save.
Oh God.
This is great.
12.
Okay. On a 12, whenever you just very lackadaisically just write on a piece of paper and the giant snail appears, you feel your pulse quicken as your hands suddenly holding the quill, sort of the feathers and stuff off of the back of it sort of flare out and then start stabbing you on the arm, drawing your own blood out, and taking what you had there and then forcibly blotting it out with your own blood, causing you 6 damage.
Oh, snap.
At which point Hamlet is like, "No, you idiot! You can't just write anything in the book. It has to make sense in the story. Otherwise, it doesn't flow and make sense, and it can't propagate properly. A giant snail can't just appear for any reason. You have to explain why the giant snail shows up."
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Now you said a word before. Noun.
Moth, I champion you.
Moth, I need you to roll deception. Because you need to keep on the thing that he's not trying to clue in on the fact that you're obviously just trying to keep him distracted.
Ooh. 16 plus 23.
Okay, yeah, he's the 100%. I'll roll his perception. He could beat that, but like
Yeah.
I have to like
That's
his,
great.
Hamlet is perceptive, but still. Okay, yeah, he doesn't have a +7. So yeah, he just sort of is just noun is a person, place, or thing. It is not a descriptor. It is a proper object, person, place, or thing.
Oh, that makes sense. Oh, because you would have made you said there's different realities. You would have made a great teacher. You should be a teacher at some point. I mean, after all this, because we're going to after this, you should be a teacher.
No. Stop talking to me. You are distracting me. I'm trying to fix this. Why is this working? Who brought in Titania?
Yeah, I don't know who Titania is.
At which point he flips the pages back and starts reading. And then the verse and the... You brought in Titania?
Okay, so to be fair, she brought me into it in the beginning, so it's really at the end.
I
of the
should have
day-
gone for the fairy folio last. Why did I do this to myself?
Yeah, it was kind of rude. I mean, who just traps?
All right.
Okay.
He flips over and he goes to a chapter, and you see him grab it and he begins to rip it out. Upon doing so, a second book is in his hand. This is why you're here, right? And you see a green, beautifully embossed book with curled pieces of ivy on it, and as he's holding it, bits of sand sort of drip out from its pages. And he says, "This is why she sent you, yeah? This is the whole reason why you are invested in this petty little conflict among us mortals.
He gets real indignant. Of course, I know that's the folio I need. I knew that the whole time.
He puts it on the table in front of him. Take it. Take it and leave. Get out of here. Drop that folio. Give me Illyria's photo. You can have that. I don't care anymore. I'll come for it at some point in time, and then the Feywilds and the world of man can have their final conflagration."
Cool. I'll grab it in a minute. Give me a second. Sorry. I'm trying because you said it needed to make sense for story. You guys have 3 statues, right? You guys call them effigies? Yes.
What are you talking about?
So okay, so you say giant snail does not make sense, but if I make giant snail effigy, that makes sense. You guys make that, right?
Why would a giant snail effigy show up in the middle of an active war zone?
Well, what if they had made it yesterday and it is left over?
Why would they make it in the first place? And this is going to happen back and forth, as roll another deception check to see if and when he clues in on this.
Moth is a rock star.
Yeah.
22.
Yes!
The first one, you rolled a 23, and I rolled a 22. The second one, you rolled a 22, and I rolled a 21.
Right now,
Okay.
I feel like Jacob's like, I wish I hadn't run across his channel. I wish I never learned.
Oh,
who
no,
the
no.
best-
That's exactly what I wanted. I
That's
wanted
great.
this. Okay. So we close out on a very pissed off Hamlet and Moth arguing in the writer's room as the door opens and an armored clad soldier steps into a stately captain's cabin. In there, he sees a comatose writing figure as Hamlet, eyes rolled back, is scribbling. You see his mouth's moving and this look of pure rage on his face as he's inaudibly arguing with someone that you cannot see. And you just see he's standing there.
Moth. Oh, before anything else, the 6 hit points you took, you got your 5 temporary.
Yes, I'm only down 1 point. because
And that
of defense.
also gives you advantage on your next attack. Ooh. Yeah. Just a reminder. Okay.
Wait,
yeah.
have I come with you?
I can. No.
That you had to get the really high
You'll
stealth
have-
roll.
you can, but you'll have to do a stealth roll to make it across.
Oh, there's no way.
Yeah.
I said the drama that you brought with you doesn't work so well here.
No, it really doesn't.
Yeah. Okay. So, I step in as the captain. Are there anybody else in the room other than Hamlet? Just kind
Roll
of.
perception. Okay.
If you do not leave me Hamlet to punch in the face, I'll be so mad at you.
Oh, I'll probably need you. It's a 14.
A 14?
Yeah.
From what you can see, the room is empty with the exception of Hamlet writing at the desk.
Okay. On the desk, there is ink.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Is it the big bowl like it was in the writing room, or is it?
Yeah, it's actually another one of those earthenware jars filled with the black and red ink beforehand next to it, and the next to that is a little glass ink well next, and he's holding the peacock feather quill.
Okay. Yeah. No, I want to stab him in the face, but I think I'm gonna message back to Rosalind and say, if you can get in, we'll bar ourselves in. It seems to be empty.
Oh, I'm gonna dash over there then.
If-
Do I have a clear pathway?
I mean, you have a clear pathway. Try to be sneaky. Try not to be seen. But if you can get here fast enough, we'll just bar the door.
Okay. Okay. How far away am I from captain's quarters?
You are within dashing distance.
All right, let me dash in there then.
After I do that, I'm going to look and say, is there indeed a way to bar the captain's quarters from the inside?
Now that I
There's-
said that.
Right?
there is furniture and there's furniture that you could use.
Okay. I'm sure there's like a standard lock, but there's
If it's
There's a
Denmark,
standard
they probably
lock
have a
and stuff like
halberd
that,
somewhere.
and it does lock. And you could put there are spare chairs. You could put one underneath.
Okay,
the
yeah.
thing.
So I got the door kind of cracked a little bit, like.
I'm like trying to run quickly with the whole dead body, like dead baby body on me,
Yeah.
essentially. Damn.
And I am
Little
just I can't see
heavy.
like up behind me, but I can see her.
Yeah.
But just in case, I got crossbow ready in case I need to make a shot to help her get there.
Running, I'm holding him, and his hand is still writing, and I'm trying to like hold him and like squeeze through the crack in the door and like not try to like knock his head. And I'm like, oh my God, this is why I'm not a mom. He's heavy. Ugh.
Roll stealth.
It is muscle.
That's a 9.
Ooh, yeah. The second you step out from behind the thing, several of those like half melted shoulders like clock you, and the human-like way they were carrying themselves drops as they all sort of like go into like a spread-armed, like four-legged like stance.
Run,
To attempt to, and they've now clocked you.
Oh crap.
Run.
Yeah.
How
fast can I run?
You've begun movements. You have the option. You could do that. You could dash to try and get around them, or you have the option of like casting another spell or something like that. That's up to you.
I'm gonna try to dash because I want to save my spell slots for in case Hamlet decides to act a fool.
Okay.
So
Go full BBEG.
yeah, like I'm gonna hold on to Moth like this, like hold his body up, and then just try to Jackie Joyner curse.
Okay. I'm going to say that there are enough here that there's going to be some amount of opportunity attacks they would get against you.
Oof.
Because
Okay.
there isn't a clear path where you're not technically going across someone. So I'm going to see... Okay, so I rolled to see how many there would be. There's one actual opportunity attack that you have to worry about. He's about, like, I'll say 15 feet in front of where the cabin is. Some guy that was just... You've zoomed past everyone else. You're going to be passing him. He gets 1. For his reaction, and we'll see. What's your AC?
11.
11. He rolls a 12.
Would Yorick get a shot on him as he's watching her run towards him? Their backs are to me.
You do see him, and I will say if you would like to. However, the act of attempting to bar the door would essentially be your action.
Can I cast Hold Person on him?
Hold person is also an action.
shit,
And you're
that's
using
right.
that to dash.
That's right.
Just take it and run.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not bad.
Problem is that whenever you're stopped by an opportunity attack, all of your movement ceases.
Ooh.
What's your AC?
11.
Now, is it the lieutenant guy getting there or one of the sailors?
It's one of the sailors.
Yeah, it's one of the sailors. One that turned into like the on all fours.
Yeah,
kinda
they're all
ink
everyone's
monsters.
now ooking out except for those lieutenants.
Okay. No, I'll take a shot at him.
Okay.
Just to see if I can. So that would that be with advantage? A shot from behind.
Yeah, it's a shot from behind. He doesn't know you're there. It's a stealth attack.
What's my plus 6? Yes. Oh, 19 plus 6 is 25.
That does hit.
And I'm going to add Psychic Blades to that.
Okay.
So the damage is 5 plus, is it 3d6 for Psychic Blades? 3d6. 15 damage.
15 damage. That is enough to definitely distract him. Just enough that'll give him disadvantage on his attack against Rosalind.
All right, something.
Okay, yeah. It unfortunately it was not enough.
Okay.
He still hits. So he's gonna go ahead and roll damage.
Mark of Bardic. All right, man, my slots are running out.
Is it, and we don't even know if he's gonna get the JRPG Phase 3 boss situation.
Right? That's why I'm like really trying not to use my spell slots. I don't have a lot.
He will do 7 damage.
That's okay. I can manage that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you have temp damage. You have temp too, so you
I
only do 2
do.
damage.
Yeah. So
I remembered. I got you.
Yeah. Also, you will have advantage on your next attack.
Yeah. So that does that. And with that, we'll go ahead and roll initiative. Because Rosalind is now definitely in combat. So I will roll for the lieutenants, and I will roll for the common soldiers.
But you still can try to get in and bar the door.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
just used my action for this round. Yeah. It's a 17 on my initiative.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Do I have an initiative bonus? 21 for my initiative.
That's a nat 20.
Nat 20. So yeah, Rosalind gets to go first. Their initiative that was effectively a surprise round on y'all's end. And rolling initiative, both of the crew, they're all so distracted. They all rolled terribly.
Okay, how many of them are there? How many of them are left for me to deal with?
There are 3 of those lieutenants. The one that you train the fireball on, and then 2 ancillaries. And then there are about a dozen of the regular soldiers.
If you stop to fight them all.
If you stop to fight them.
I'm gonna keep dashing.
Yeah. Yeah. You get to go first, so run.
Yeah, I'm gonna run.
Yeah.
Now, how
the
far
good
away
news is that you don't have to dash. You're
No.
only 15 feet away from the door,
And you can
So
disengage.
You could disengage. You could allow another attack of opportunity, and then when you get to the door, you could cast a spell and have an action. So you have a couple options here.
Ooh, I'm more concerned about just getting in the room. Getting in the room. So, I'm gonna disengage and
Yeah.
just keep booking it.
You disengage and get into the room. And
Stop it.
With that, it actually goes to you. York.
Yeah, so I'd swing the door open wide. When she comes in, I'll use my action, lock,
Yeah.
and start moving anything I
So
can.
we'll do that one. It's we'll say locking the door and everything that works because you used your action
Okay.
to shoot the guy. So that means now it's their turn. The door is locked. So only so many of them can try to interact with that door. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna roll to see if any of them can. The key. It locks on the inside, and no one has the key except Hamlet.
All right. I will say before I do want to use my bonus action to turn to Rosalind, and I don't know if we'll get through the moth or not. But it's okay. Change plans, but we got this. Refresh your bardic inspiration.
Okay.
All right.
I assume I get the bardic inspiration, but I just don't know it until after I come back out of the.
Yes.
Trance.
You would have to come out in order to realize that bardic inspiration has been given to you. So
Right there.
I
No,
will
I don't get it.
make
Oh.
some rolls to see if any of them will
you
be
got
able
it
to break down the door.
Okay.
So there are essentially 2 lieutenants and 2 sailors that are going to attempt to try to break down the door, because only about 4 or so would be able to actually get in and try to get there. The sailors are not strong enough in order to do inflict them. The lieutenants, on the other hand, are able to do the hit. So we need to see if they do enough damage. So they do. They each have multi-attack. Okay, that is more than enough damage to knock down the door.
But that's their turn.
Didn't.
But that's their turn. So everyone has basically, and the little guys went first. So they tried to knock on the door, didn't get through. The 3 lieutenants came in, and they have all done that. They have knocked out the door. So the frustrating part, oh no, there's all of these guys. The good news is you're in a doorway, and there is one guy standing in the middle.
Is 300 the situation?
Yeah, and with that, it
Right.
goes back to the top, and it's back to Rosalind.
I say kill Hamlet.
Okay.
I take a knife and just get rid there.
Yeah, I want to magic missile him just because I want the insult of yes, like
You're gonna
Yeah.
magic missile him, or you're gonna mask damage him.
listen. All I requested was to be able to punch him in the face.
That's true.
I figured you would be the one who'd want to kill him more since you had more of a history with him.
Yeah.
And he's just been mildly disrespectful to me.
You pack more of a punch. That's why I wanted you in here. I'm good. I got my turns next. Go
Well,
for it. Do it.
okay.
Do it. Do what you're gonna do.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fireball him because that would cause a hole in this ship. And
The first one didn't.
I'm not opposed.
why you want me to fireball Hamlet in this enclosed space?
Fireballing the horde, I would say, makes sense because you've got more than a dozen guys trying to get in.
Right.
Now that seems like what I would do. Fireballing Hamlet in this. Fireballing
like-
someone you're sharing a room with and you are within the 20-foot
Feet were-
sphere.
like, that causes,
that
like,
seems
damage.
questionable.
No, Yorick's just kill him.
Okay, I'm gonna magic missile my third level spell with magic missile. I'm gonna magic missile Hamlet and like all 3 of them. Bam, bam, bam.
So Hamlet, not the group.
Hamlet.
Okay,
Hamlet. Okay, roll damage.
to all of us.
Okay, 5 and 4 and 2.
11 damage.
11 damage. You launch 3 darts into Hamlet. His back explodes in pink fairy dust, and the body goes limp.
Yes, yes, yes.
And from it, a black ichor
Stage 3 JRPG. I told you.
filled with flecks of parchment leak out from it. And the soldiers behind Rosalind laugh. And they go, "This room was the trap."
Man,
I said, this ain't it, Chief.
this ain't it.
Princess is in another castle.
You just Mario'd me.
Yeah. And with that, we get back, and Hamlet now is looking at his folio and is like, oh, you sneaky little ragamuffin. You've got me monologuing.
I don't know what the ragamuffin is, but
You tried so hard. Your friends tried so hard. I'm on a ship in the middle of the ocean. They brave cannon fire, get to the place. Somehow, I guess, must sneak pack the 15 or so guards I have protecting me. And they shoot my clone. I'm not in the captain's cabin. I'm in the hold. I don't care about ostentatious. Why would I put myself out in the middle of nowhere? Oh man. Oh god. I have to see this in person. And he closes his folio. And you see him out of the writer's room.
can I write? First of all, he does look a little nervous. He's like, it did not go so well. I'm going to write that the two brave adventurers, realizing their mistake, had in fact hired a couple of illusionists
Yes, Moth. Yes.
to storm the cabin while they went to the hold.
Come on, Moth.
There are shadow players in town.
Come on, Moth.
All those elements.
Okay. Make your constitution save.
All those elements are in Illyria.
12. Okay. From the 12.
And I don't get my bardic inspiration.
You do. I will say you get your bardic inspiration on this.
Okay.
It is a magical effect caused by It's
Yeah.
you.
Okay, thank God. 12, 19.
19. Okay. On the 19, you, with every ounce of willpower you have, you write that down and you feel the world fighting you on this. Each bit of, each scratch of ink, every micrometer of your quill moving against the page feels like you are attempting to move a mountain. Unlike the snail, which you were just so haphazardly doing something, this feels different. This feels like you are changing the world around you in an astronomical way. And you are physically exhausted in doing so. Upon doing that, you look up and you see Hamlet sitting there writing, going, what am I doing? What am I supposed to do here? Wait, what? And you realize that he hasn't caught on. And you two find yourselves, you hear the commotion up from the front as two shadow players who had cast Disguise Self, each of which had the skills necessary to infiltrate and mimic aspects of you.
Yeah, they did.
Good job, shadow players.
You were able to, while they were at the top of the, while they had taken the boat behind you, you and your group were on the yacht proper, hidden beneath. And right as cannon fire began to rain down upon you, you jumped ship behind them and swam underneath in order to make your way to the bottom of the boat. Then climbing up on the other side, while they had begun their plans on how to get to Hamlet in the captain's quarters. Yorick, fearing that Hamlet would be smart enough to lay an obvious trap, your group instead, during the commotion, went underneath the ship. And you now see yourself outside of the hold, a comatose, strained halfling now sits in a papoose, visible sweat on his brow as the two of you stand in front of a doorway.
I just lean down. I'm like, good job, Moth. Good job.
Will they remember
Again,
that?
you know, they wouldn't have known. This all would have just been the plan. They know that you might be writing, though, because they can see the physical exertion on your face. Because you can tell coming from him because he feels hotter. Like, you put your hand on him and it feels like he's running a fever.
So only I would. 'Cause I'm assuming I would remember.
You're going to be the only one that remembers that you wrote in the book.
Hell yeah.
He's working his little hands off.
Yeah,
We
so
gotta
we're
help him.
just standing in the hold now. We
You're
know
standing
why
in the
we're there.
hold. There's no one there.
yeah.
Everyone is up on the stove trying to put out the fires and now trying to kill you two up in the captain's quarters.
Yeah. So I hear the commotion above deck, and I'm like, well played. Well played. To my shadow players. Is he okay? Look at Moth.
He's just a little bit more sweaty.
Okay.
His hand's really going at it. I don't even know what he's writing, but it looks pretty cool.
You see the veins on the arm.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Well, he's down here somewhere. Let's find him. Let's end it.
You stand in front of a door.
You ready?
I'm ready. You open the door because I don't want anything to happen to Moth.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't get our spell slots back that were cast when we were written, do we?
You technically didn't cast them. Your doppelgangers did.
Let's see. I cast a third level spell, and I used a bardic inspiration. All right.
Because you wouldn't even the sailor that you shot with the cannonball wouldn't have counted because it wouldn't have been there.
So you're
All
magic missile, fireball back.
Yep, all my third level spells
And
are
there-
back.
There
our
is a
first bardic
paradox
inspiration.
that was created, though, which is why he had to roll the Constitution
Yeah.
save. Because you said that you cast Bardic Inspiration, he used his Bardic Inspiration, but by making the
yeah.
doppelganger showed up that made you cast the Bardic Inspiration in the first place, the Bardic Inspiration never happened. So in order to fix the paradox, you had to play a blood tithe.
All right. No, I'm swinging the door wide.
But we do also have our first bardic inspiration that you cast the very first time.
Yes.
You open the door, and in there, squatting on the ground, like a child with a coloring book, you see a emaciated, strung out waif of a man.
That's the dude who talks such hot mess.
You see Hamlet furiously scribbling, trying to fix the problem that he has created. You see a kid that is sad that his dad died and just wants the world to stop being so harsh to everything. You see a kid that has had a lot of bad things happen to him and kind of just wants the world to stop for just a little bit. Just let it be quiet.
And then, are there a bunch of multiple folios there on the ground in front of him, or
No,
just
it's
one?
just the one. It's just the one. But this one, it looks like it looks like a serial killer's manifesto with different pieces of paper stuffed into it, almost falling out of it. And as he's flipping through it, you see that it's flipping through like pieces of paper that fold out accordion style as he's trying to write into it, and it has a bizarre, like, mangled dream logic to how the book is bound together.
I'm going to draw a dagger just in case. With my other hand, I'm simply going to pull the book away from him.
With that,
I want to smack him in the back of his head.
You can hit him.
you
all you
smack
want.
him in the back of his head and you pull the book away from him. And a bleary-eyed young man looks up at the two of you, sees the book no longer in his possession and in yours, and just starts shaking his head. I just want my dad back.
I'm going to close it and say, "What have you done?"
Just
I have no pity whatsoever.
Oh, hit him. You
She
wanted
did.
to-
But when you
Okay,
pulled it away,
that's right.
So
All right,
do I
you got
see
to.
him? Do I see him?
he leaves the
disappear?
writer's room.
I closed the book.
Hey, you are now in the papoose staring down at this strung out little heroin addict looking Hamlet. Just
I'm going to take Moth off so that he can
oh, you have little clasps, so you just
Yeah.
unclasp them when you
just
just
like set him
and
down
it's just
gently.
Just dun dun.
I gotta say, just in my mind, I just cast Hamlet as DiCaprio in Basketball Diaries.
Oh Lord. Then I do really want to slap him in the back of the head.
So okay, so he just was his dad back. He's not, he's all just emaciated sitting there.
You've
Moth?
created so much damage.
Moth takes, I think I have one more weapon. He puts it on the ground behind him. And he gives him a hug.
Oh shit. I'm gonna go ahead and Hamlet's gonna make a. Right, what is Hamlet? Hamlet's gonna make a Constitution save.
Oh, you guys are so kind. Meantime, I'm like, kill him.
For the first time in probably since he's been brought back from the dead, Hamlet just kind of realizes what he's been doing and sort of just hugs you back, and you hear him sob, and he takes the dagger from behind you.
He's gonna. Try
I threw it behind. I threw it behind them.
Or,
So
okay.
he couldn't grab it. That's exactly what I
You
did.
throw the dagger behind you. Okay.
Yeah, I got it away from him.
Hamlet.
Y'all are
bas-
gonna learn about trusting these crying
let's go.
heroin addicts.
And says he gets up and he sort of just slowly walks over to where the dagger is, and he just starts staring at it. York, could you come back in about 5 minutes? You guys can leave.
No. If you think for 1 minute that we are gonna exit this room and let you try to kill yourself or somebody, we did not come this far. Am I the only one here with a bit of sense? Hello?
I'm not leaving, Hamlet.
Can you do it then? You can hit me first if you want to. But can you do it? I'm scared too.
How about, and I'm sorry before we do anything. How about, so sorry I messed up all of reality.
I'm gonna pull my dagger. Horatio brought you back?
I killed him for doing so.
Did he bring me back? Did you write me back? Am I here because of this? And I point to the folio.
I wanted my friend back. This book says I couldn't bring back my dad, but it said I could bring back you.
This is so messed up.
I'm gonna turn my dagger, hilt first. I'm gonna hand it to him. Say, you've done everything else on your own. If this is what you want, do it.
Oh, this got serious. This is.
Moth doesn't like this at all.
Rosalind, you hate me, please.
Oh, I don't hate you. I just am like severely angry with you, and I'm not
Then
willing
you're
to give.
so angry with me. You have every right to. I've interfered in your life. I called you awful things. I just don't.
So here are my thoughts. I'm not a big fan of assisted suicide. Like I'm not going to take that trauma on just because you suddenly want to kill yourself. Like that's not how this works. But amends must be made because you really, like not just our reality, but the Fae reality, you had to Tanya ready to flip out. Like this is a mess. This is a mess. And if I assist you in killing yourself, that means you never have to take accountability for your mess. So I get that you're like super upset because your dad died. I get it. But like, that means you never even took accountability for the stuff you created in your timeline and in your story. You're just moving like a coward left and right all the time. And I'm supposed to feel sorry for you? No. It's a reason, but it's not an excuse.
Unless Hamlet stops me, York would take the dagger back after that and say, that's what I thought.
Well, so Moth goes up. Mr. Hamlet, I understand. You're young. It hurts. There is a lot of anger here, and I understand. What has been done has been horrible. But with these books, it can be undone, correct?
Yeah.
Help us. Help us undo. Help us put everything as should. I promise you, you come with me. I bring you to Queen, and we find you a place where you can live. You can atone, and you can move on.
That's a better option.
Help us, and then let us get to a better place together.
That's really kind, and like he's offering rehabilitation. I just want to punch you in the face again, but he's offering you like really. He's your Huckleberry.
With that, we pan out, and I sort of have a question to ask my players. Hamlet wants to atone for what he's done. He's been given a second chance at life through Horatio, and you now have enough folios that if need be, you could put the world back to order. But what order is that? Do you return things to the way they're supposed to be in the canon? How the bard wrote it in the first place? Or do you want to continue to have your own spin on it? When you write it back, do you want Yorick to stay around? Do you want Rosalind to be the main character in Verona? And does Moth want to continue on to be the one that safeguards Hamlet and gives him a means of protecting himself? Or do you want it all back to go to the way that it was before? Rosalind in the background, York in the ground, and Moth being a part of a chorus with no voice of his own.
I think as far as York is concerned, it might have taken some time. What he dealt with was twofold. There was the issue of Hamlet.
Yeah.
Right? There's the issue of Hamlet, this person that I knew, this person that I was training.
Yeah.
And the disasters and terrible things that befell him and his family, my execution, all of that. That's part of it. But looking past that, I think he also has a kind of a conflict on what he's always been told as a shadow player.
Yeah.
That you trust the script, that no mortal or even Fae should have the ability to rewrite their own story, much less others. Mm-hmm. Having said that, stories have been rewritten, and if we take these books and open them and rewrite them to what we think they should be, then we're doing the exact same thing. I think that the place that Yorick finally lands is, I followed the script, and the script has led me here. Going back and rewriting anything other than where we are now would be wrong to Yorick. I think that these folios need to be safeguarded. They need to be entrusted to someone who can make sure this never happens again. But he wouldn't be in favor of rewriting anything.
I don't think Rosalind would rewrite. No, that's not true. Rosalind's going to stand there for a moment and then go, if there's anything that needs to be rewritten, I have two requests. The first is that we go back to being able to have sun up, sun down, regular days. And those god-awful guard uniforms that those men had to wear, that was just so atrocious. And I just feel horrible that they even had to wear them. But as for everything else, I'm sorry Juliet died. I'm sorry my family went through any of that. But I don't feel like I should be written as one line, two lines in a story. Why should I not have a life? Why do I get relegated to being nothing for a tragic story when there's so much beauty in the after of the tragedy? We move forward and things are different, sometimes harder, but it's not the tragedy that's important. It's what happens afterwards. So I don't want to rewrite anything except for those two things.
So Moth would really struggle with this.
Yeah.
Because, well, Moth has enjoyed, Moth doesn't mind going back to playing his part.
Yeah.
But he likes his new friends, and he's gained a lot of perspective here, and he would hate to have lost that. As well as he wants to help this child in front of him who hurts.
Yeah.
And so, where his mind would go is would there be a way to maybe take out the wanton violence, the mass violence that happened right now? So it's a soft reset, but to then write the books out of existence. Because Moth believes in the beauty of the chaos.
Yeah.
And to allow that freedom of choice in that chaos, and that there is no script to follow, that we will have been put along this path on that script, but then there is no chance of that script happening again.
Ever again.
To allow that chaos to just, and that freedom to be.
Okay.
That's where his mind would go in trying to go that direction.
And with that, I think we have our answer. With the freeing of Oberon, the world goes back to its day-night cycle as proper. It's no longer in the perpetual dusk and dawn. It has proper stars. And with that, the folios are sent away. They are written in such a way that they are no longer a tool that can be used. And with that, our group can idly meet if they wish. They can say hello to the new friends. And York and Hamlet both have a chance to live. York, the Shadow players congratulate you on a good job, and they give you the opportunity to retire if you want. You already died once. You don't have to serve again if you don't want. They tell you to live.
I think that the Shadow players, York would say, retirement? No, because I feel that the Shadow player's role has grown. We now protect this from ever happening again.
Yeah. And with that, Moth sort of retires on his own. He's still a part of Titania's thing, but now there is a new member of his chorus. Instead of just Moth and his two siblings, there is a fourth hangers-on that's a part of their chorus. A small, cherub-faced little boy that's happy to have real, genuine friends. And the Capulets have never been wealthier, never been happier, and don't have to do crime anymore due to the effective, due to how great their new head of the family is upon her mother waking up and her father and her stepping back and allowing their wonderful, amazing, angry daughter to be the one to decide how Verona should grow from now on.
I think I want to still be able to contact Moth.
Oh yeah, no, you're
and be like, Moth, I made these. They're called booty shorts, but they're similar to what you wear. And
You're-
they're a hit.
yeah. And with that, we have run out of time, like so desperately. And so with that, I'm gonna say goodbye. And this has been great, guys. And thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
This is again to reintroduce
David Sanders.
and
Becky McDonald.
Alex the Bear Bard.
And with that, we're going to say goodbye. And say goodbye to the Bardlands. It has been super cool and super great. A reminder that this is sponsored by the Dallas Public Library and Dallas Shakespeare. Again, all of the stuff that I used, the books and everything that I used to create this adventure were all available here at the Dallas Public Library for checkout, and the space that we've been recording in this whole time, the Story Center, is available for public use. You just need a library card and take a brief 30-minute training, and you can come here and do the same thing. So yeah, with that, thank you all so much, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.